Prime 3, Corruption, run by Claris. But in the meantime, we've got a couple donations. $50 from Anonymous. Here's just a little contribution. Let's make the world a better place. $15 from Anonymous. Had to donate during Fire Emblem for my husband and my friends, who are all obsessed with this series and got me into it recently too. A close friend of mine is fighting brain cancer at the moment, and he's always in my thoughts. Here's hoping cancer becomes a thing of the past sooner rather than later. All right, and we're going to pass it over to a quick ad break. It's been a pleasure talking to y'all folks. See y'all soon.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. I'm YoBGS. I'll be your host for Metroid Prime 3 Corruption. Any percent normal coming up with Claris here in just a bit. In the meantime, we've got some donations for you. $15 from Meg250, saying longtime watcher, first time donator, had to donate during my favorite Fire Emblem game, and for my girl Vanessa, this run is super entertaining to watch, and the Ephraim Perler is too cute to pass up. Let's do our best to fight cancer. We have a $20 anonymous donation that says, Fire Emblem Sacred Stones was my introduction to this awesome series, thanks to the old 3DS Ambassador program. Glad to see a run of it at AGDQ. If the Fire Emblem Marathon was anything to go by, then I'm sure you'll destroy this run, Kirby Masta. And destroy it he did. We've got $15 from Squiggle71, saying Fire Emblem is an amazing game from my childhood. Thanks for including this in the schedule. $30 from John Toe, saying Heart AGDQ, thanks to everyone that makes this happen. Here's a $20 anonymous donation saying, donating for the first time during the Fire Emblem speedrun, seeing as how it's one of my favorite Nintendo franchises, and Sacred Stones is one of my favorite games. My grandfather recently managed his way through a particularly nasty colon cancer scare, and a close family friend is currently struggling with glioblastoma, a brain cancer with no known cure. So here's $20 to help us make a world where cancer can't hurt people anymore. Oh, and to get some more Super Mario 3D World content. And on that note, the Super Mario 3D World Complete Champions Road incentive is getting so much closer to its goal. I know I'd love to see Petey Boo play that incredibly tough stage. We need about a little less than $980 more to get that played, so get those donations in. We've got a $20 donation from Zach Larrick saying, this is only my third AGDQ, but I'm finally able to donate. Cancer runs in both sides of my family. So let's kick cancer's butt and not let future generations have to worry about it. We've also got a $150 anonymous donation with no comment. There's a $150 donation from Tillian Vevfet saying Fire Emblem The Sacred Stones was one of the best games on the Game Boy Advance, and I had a great time with it. My grandmother passed away from breast cancer before I was born, and I'd like to allow others to know those who would be taken before their time. Mr. Autumn donates $5 and says, greetings from England. Longtime fan, first time watching. Love what you guys do and the positive light you put on the industry. Watching speedruns makes me wonder what it would be like if speed strats were incorporated into real life. Imagine watching someone jump and roll to work because it's faster, or press themselves against their office wall to try and clip into the bathroom. Keep up the good work. Just as a reminder, as we get into the Metroid Prime 3 corruption run here in a few minutes, there are some awesome prizes that if you haven't had a chance to see, you should definitely take a look at them. There's an 80s retro wave Samus Aran portrait that's very unbelievably done. It's a $25 minimum donation. That's from Jace Thor. There's a Metroid Trilogy 2X vinyl soundtrack by Unfortunate Face. And we've seen a number of these vinyls pop up so far throughout GDQ, and they've been incredible, both the artwork on the albums and the albums themselves. It's a $15 minimum bid donation to get in for that one. Of course, we've got the big one as well, the PS4, the Xbox One, and also the Nintendo Switch. That's a $150 cumulative donation throughout the course of AGDQ. Can get you entered to win that one. We have a $5 donation from Iron Dragons saying first-time watcher and donator. Fire Emblem has always been one of my favorite series. Put this toward Champions Road because I could never beat it, and I want to see it completed. I share the sentiment, Iron Dragons. There is an incentive that got met in a game that will be coming up in a little bit, Left 4 Dead 2, as we get into the horror block. The Save the Gnome $5,000 donation has been met, or $5,000 incentive has been met, so we will be saving that gnome. We have a $30 anonymous donation saying, this is my first time donating, and I just had to for my first and favorite Fire Emblem game. Both my grandmothers passed due to cancer, and this is my way to honor them. Thank you to the organizers and runners for doing this. And just a reminder what your donations go towards: the Prevent Cancer Foundation. It's one of the nation's leading voluntary health organizations and the only U.S. nonprofit focused solely on cancer prevention and early detection. You probably associate it with GDQ, but it was actually founded in 1985. It's catapulted cancer prevention to prominence and fulfills its mission through research, education, outreach, and advocacy across the country. The Prevent Cancer Foundation funds projects in the U.S. and internationally. You can check out gamesdonequick.com and click on a link there to learn more about their projects. Of course, there are also a number of other great incentives coming up. Now, for Metroid, a little bit later on, you can decide whether or not Samus will be suited or suitless in the Metroid run. Of course, we're keeping an eye on that Super Mario 3D World Complete Champions Road. I know I want to see Petey Boo do that. That run's coming up after Claris takes on Metroid Prime 3 Corruption, any percent normal. Some more of the bid wars that will be coming up, especially as we look ahead to the horror block. In Dying Light, you can choose the language used for the Dying Light co-op run. And right now, it looks like Francais is the winning option, followed closely by German. Can decide whether Cube Face will play as Ophelia or Caleb in the Blood 2 The Chosen run. Right now, Caleb is winning. Ophelia has 22 cents. If met, the Wizards and Warriors run category will be changed to all bosses. That's a $6,000 incentive. It's at $1,250.50 of that. I say go for it because it's always nice to see the games be done harder and take a little bit longer. Got a $10 donation, a little bit more love coming in for Kirby. That Sacred Stones run was absolutely insane. I'm a newer Fire Emblem fan, and seeing that run revitalized my drive to getting around to playing the Game Boy Advance games. He says, let's pierce cancer where it hurts. And you've still got time to get in for a number of great prizes that are still available, including the AGDQ 2018 sketchbook by LLK. You might have seen Scent showing this off a little bit last night. The drawings in these are unbelievable. It's a $30 minimum bid donation to get in on that one. Absolutely a bargain for just some of the phenomenal artwork in that sketchbook. Also, the Octopus AGDQ banner is a $50 minimum bid donation. Saw the banner showed off last night as well. Some of the artwork on it just unbelievable. Absolutely worth donating to get in for on that one. Got another donation as they finish getting set up here for Metroid Prime 3 Corruption. Baron Montesquieu donates $30. Says, gotta donate for Metroid Prime 3, the game I've never been able to finish. Can't wait to see the runner make it look like child's play. That's just the start of it. Claris is the world record holder for any percent normal. She's absolutely going to destroy this game. Just a reminder, we've got a number of great prizes that will be available during the Metroid Prime 3 run, including that 80s retro wave Samus Aran portrait. I was taking a look at it, unbelievably crafted, definitely worth the $25 minimum bid donation to get in and try and win that one. Of course, that's not the only artwork we have. Again, you may have seen this one a little bit earlier as well. There's an original acrylic painting on canvas of Samus arriving on Zebes in Super Metroid. Very vibrant painting. You can get in with a $10 minimum bid donation during the Metroid Prime 3 run. All right, we are going to throw it over to Claris for Metroid Prime 3 Corruption Any Percent Normal. Claris, take it away.
Woo, corruption.
Woo!
So we ready to go? Okay. 3, 2, 1, go.
So, should we do roll call?
Claris?
I'm Proto Magical Girl. This is Witch's Hex.
I'm Memory TAS.
This shoulder here is Kirby Master.
Hi, Kirby.
Hi, what's up?
Hi. So the game starts out off with a bunch of cutscenes. I think this one is like about Dark Samus escaping from some Phazon or something, or
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what's happening.
I
in
don't
this cutscene,
remember
actually.
either.
Plot.
This is the sequel to Metroid Prime 2 for the Nintendo GameCube.
this game came out in 2007 with like less than a year after the Wii launched, and that will become very evident in like a couple seconds.
Point of controls.
Welcome to the future. We now have pointer controls instead of holding R and L to aim.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of random, pointless motion control things. throughout
They're
this
not
game.
pointless. They add immersion.
You gotta have the immersion. Metroid's all about the
You
immersion.
must feel like you're in the world.
Poke, 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 poke. That's like one of my favorite parts of early game.
Yeah, the start of the game is the only time you can poke it without losing time, so you got to do as much as you can here.
Okay, this code is always the same.
Oh.
Okay, so this is pointer controls, and so this is not the setup I'm used to sitting in. So, like, at
Game
the,
might be slightly off.
yeah, at the start at least.
Hopefully you'll adjust. Sorry.
So coming up is pretty much the tutorial
Ooh, I
area.
pointed towards the screen.
Truly, truly beautiful content.
The future
How
of
immersed
video
did you
games.
feel? Yeah, this acts as a tutorial section, and there's a bunch of targets you're supposed to shoot. And there's quite a few spots in early game where you're supposed to shoot targets. Claris is going to be using an option called lock-on free aim, and she's going to keep that off for the early game until after a certain point in the run where she doesn't need to fire at targets anymore.
Yeah.
Lock-on free aim is an option where if you're locked onto something, you can still aim outside of that target range. So it has both advantages and disadvantages.
So right here is something called a spring space jump, where you basically use either a bomb jump or a spring ball jump, and you have to need to get an instant unmorph by having the camera stuck in the wall. Then if you get an instant unmorph, you can jump within
A third of a second.
like a third of a second.
Yeah, so what I just did there is that there's a long cutscene in that room that you can't skip. You just have to. I can't do it right now.
Can't draw.
I can't. So yeah, what I did was unload the room and come back, and so that's a lot faster than just standing around waiting for the cutscene to end.
Skipping the immersion of watching Gore getting scammed.
I am so immersed.
This area kind of just has a lot of, oh, we have motion controls, just point around and try these twist things out.
It's very clearly an early Wii game, for better and worse.
Yeah, there are some parts where it works fine. And the pointer controls, I think, are generally pretty solid if you're used to the setup.
Yeah, I'm not used to this.
All right. So right here, Claris is springballing to hit a load trigger for the next room coming up to save a little bit of time. This game is ran on optimizing how you load the next room quickly a lot, because in a lot of rooms, there's two ways to load a room. One is to shoot the door and get close to the door, and that automatically starts loading the next room. The other way is to hit an invisible loading trigger for the next room, and that starts loading that room. So in a lot of cases, sometimes it may take long. Oh, by the way, this save is required.
Yeah, so you have to visit it.
You don't have to save, but you have to visit it. But there are cases where like sometimes just hitting the low trigger more quickly is faster overall, even though it takes you longer to reach the door.
Yeah, that's the thing with this game is that the loads are really slow. We'll definitely be seeing a lot of that later.
For those not initially aware, the Metroid Prime series tends to hide its loading screens behind doors. So whenever a door is taking long to open, that's because it's loading.
It's all part of the immersion. I mean, that's what happens in real life. You go through a door and you just kind of have to stand there for 5 seconds until the door decides to open. Like, that's what I did trying to get into the stream room. That's why setup took so long. It was just loading really slowly.
So yeah,
This run is now family friendly because you skipped Admiral Dane's line. Damn.
yeah. So there's a line where Dane says "damn," but in the European version they censored it to "no." Like, it's a teen-rated game, so I don't really see the point.
But it's a Nintendo teen-rated game.
Oh, so are you going to save the soldier or not?
Are you gonna horrifically murder the soldier?
Or are you going
not?
to gallantly save the soldier here? Which is it? Make your decision. No, he's dead.
You just shot a man and caused him to go into the cold depths of space.
Speedrunning.
Yeah.
It
I mean,
doesn't
did you just
even
not
save time.
Did you just not see my Fire Emblem run where I killed 5 units?
It's the same amount of time. There's no. It's chaotic evil. Like,
This is
choice.
not the save all soldiers category. This is any % normal, okay?
It doesn't even lose time to save.
So on a serious note, we just had a fight. There's a few pirates you need to kill, and you need to kill all of them to pick up the energy cell, which allows you to power this up. And it activates another fight with a bunch of mini crawl tanks or whatever. And there's a cutscene that's going to happen soon where a crawl tank will open a space for you to roll in, but that only happens after you kill a certain number of enemies in this room. So you want to kill as many enemies as you can quickly until this crawl tank under the ground here spawns.
Also, one thing, when you enter and skip the cutscene, if you're in Morph Ball, the camera will face the way you're moving before the cutscene started. So sometimes one of those bugs will push you away right before the cutscene starts, and so then the camera will be like facing some completely random direction after it ends. So you gotta look out for that.
So Claris is about to open up her scan visor, and you have some 4 visors in the game. You start with the combat and scan visor. Scan visor is not used very frequently in this game, not as much as Prime 1 or 2, but it allows you to scan stuff and sometimes activate certain terminals.
And occasionally you do still use it to do the little side dash maneuver, but it's really nerfed in this game.
Yeah,
even over Echoes.
Scan dashes are really nerfed compared to especially Prime 1 and 2, but they do have their uses here and there. So right there, Claris jumped on a rail to skip going around a room once, and she's taking these nice little shortcuts to pretty much skip this entire room and get missiles. For whatever reason, Samus starts with Space Jump, Bombs, Charge Beam, Morph Ball, Varia Suit, but doesn't start with missiles. I don't know why.
To be fair, Varia Suit is no different, like doesn't really do anything different in this game.
That is true.
And also, they got tired of speedrunners skipping Space Jump.
Yeah.
I got tired of skipping Space Jump. So.
Skipping Space Jump is not fun in Prime 1 or 2.
Well,
Well,
for some people.
it is. Some people it is. So there's a gimmick with those enemies. You're supposed to shoot the one that doesn't have a blue barrier, but you can just skip it by rolling through them. And take it like, oh no, like 1 damage.
Gasp. Gasp. We like to live on the edge here in Metroid Prime 3 Corruption for the Nintendo Wii.
So here's the first boss, Berserker Lord. First, she needs to shoot the shore things, and then it'll the enemy will shoot either 3 or 5 purple orbs, and if it shoots 5, then you can damage it in
Gotcha.
1 phase.
It takes 4 to destroy its shell. If you get 3, you have to just try again.
Yeah.
But she got the good luck, so that fight was just very fast. It's a really well executed fight.
One thing about loads, if you play the trilogy version on Wii U eShop, then the loads are much faster due to being digital. But they fixed a lot of things in the eShop, in trilogy version, not eShop. So it actually ends up being slower to do a run on that version, even though the loads are so much faster. So
Another thing about that trilogy version, if you play the original Wii version, the loads aren't faster and in fact are slower.
Don't play the disc version of trilogy. That's not good.
Yeah, so we just landed in Norian, which is kind of a side area that you can revisit here and there.
It's like it's the first area of sorts, so we're still in a bit of tutorial land.
Yeah, this game has way too much tutorial stuff.
More targets. Woo! Good job. So she's gonna go ahead and get another major upgrade here called Grapple Lasso, and do a quick scan dash here. This is the first of quite a few grapple upgrades in the game, don't you think?
Yeah, 5 of them.
Grapple Lasso is an upgrade that allows you to use your grapple beam to rip things off or pull things. So it doesn't actually let you swing across like grapple points like in Prime 1 or 2. There's a separate upgrade for that she'll get relatively early in the run.
Ooh, motion control.
Motion controls!
Woo! Immersion! your right arm is like so immersed.
Well, my left arm is going to get into it too soon.
Yeah, the grapple lasso uses the nunchuck instead of the.
Whoa!
Whoa!
So yeah, also every time you use the grapple lasso, you always want to beat it in the air when you use it, because it saves probably a second compared to using it on the ground, because there's always a pause before you try to swing a grapple lasso if you use it on the ground, which is why Claris is jumping between every grapple lasso here. Here's another E-Tank. E-Tanks are pretty much the most important expansions in the game. Missiles are kind of useless. And energy, we'll explain more about that later on, about why energy tanks will be really important.
Oh no.
Oh no. Not only that, but it's pretty much in your way here, so you might as well get it.
Yeah.
Okay. So she's pretty much just
So
rolling her way.
everyone's getting blown up here. I don't care. I'm just
Yeah.
going to run away.
Wow, you used a missile?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
It travels slower.
There's a bunch of mines that are hard to see on the ground here. You want to shoot them out. You don't want to try to roll through them or else you get knocked back. Now here's a pirate fight coming up here. The next set of pirates will spawn the moment you kill 2 of them. So Claris will try to take out the 2 weaker pirates as soon as possible. They only take 1 charge to kill here. And there we go. The next set will start spawning.
Yeah, and that's the last I need of lock-on frame being off. So
This is the right way to speedrun the game.
yes.
These 2 pirates have a bit more armor, so they take a bit more to kill. And there are also shield pirates, which the gimmick is that you're supposed to grapple lasso the shields up, which I actually kind of like, but you want to just kill them before they bring them out, so you can just kill them.
It's immersive.
It's immersive.
True.
So these flying pirates have a tendency to break out of your lock-on, which some enemies can just do in this game, but you can just re-lock on immediately. Their hitboxes don't make sense, so sometimes you'll just randomly miss them. And then now there's a pirate ship that's going to come, and Claris is going to try to hit it with 4 charge shots and a missile to blow it up. There we go. And this NPC here, he is Rundus. He is one of the 3 bounty hunters in the game, and we're not going to see much of him, which is unfortunate because he's pretty cool, IMO.
Interesting thing about this game is that it actually has a lot of voice acting for a Nintendo game at the time.
does.
And they even hired some decently well-known voice actors. The biggest one being Christopher Sabat, who you might know as the voice of Vegeta from the Dragon Ball franchise.
Who does he voice again?
Vegeta.
Like in
No,
this game?
no, in
Oh,
this game.
Rundus.
Oh, forgot about that.
Rundus Vegeta.
Alright, so your goal in Norian is to activate the 3 generators. this is the first one Claris is in, and there's a kind of a mini boss fight coming up where she has to destroy these flying little robots.
Oh, wow, that just happened in practice too, and that's never happened to me before, so I don't know how I messed that up like that.
Yeah, there's no real luck in this fight with where they spawn, so if you know where they spawn, you can just predict where they're going to be and just kill them. But if you miss a shot, then this is kind of a fight where things go to hell. Go downhill, better
So-
adjective.
It's a
So,
teen-rated game.
so, there's sort of waves. So once you finish off the first wave, like you know where the next set will spawn.
Yeah.
So even if you screw up the first phase, you're not totally blind.
All right, so there's kind of a little morph puzzle here where she has to roll around these morph ball tunnels and activate these morph ball bomb slots.
You are thinking of the wrong room.
Oh, I am. You're right. Thank you.
So the generators all have the same basic designs, which is why Kirby mixed them up.
Yeah. What in the name of?
There's not much going on right here, so if you have some donations, that would be a good time.
Well, we've got plenty of them. $500 donation from Icefire.
Wow.
Thanks, Icefire.
And Icefire says, insert corruption quote here.
Catch.
Go on.
We've got $25 from Jim Bradfield saying motion controls are the future. There's a $75 donation from Average Joe 1812. Samus still needs more DACA. Good luck on the run. Donation goes to Runner's Choice.
I don't know if we mentioned that spring balling uphill slopes is faster.
Hostile eliminated.
I think he also, Christopher Scott also voiced some random troopers, but who cares?
Using spring ball involves flicking the Wiimote, which can sometimes be kind of unresponsive.
I think you mean immersive.
Yes.
Don't I just
Failing the spring ball with flicking a Wiimote is very immersive.
yeah, because if you like roll into a ball and try and flick your wrist to jump in real life, it won't work.
Exactly.
Immersion.
All right, here is one of the best NPCs in the game coming up. His name is Gore. He's another bounty hunter like Rundus.
I have no idea who his voice actor is, nor game it is. I just know Rundus.
All right, we have to get ready for this. Go on.
So, Claris activated the loading trigger, but the in-game time is paused while talking to the NPC.
I'm actually not aiming for in-game time
Oh,
this
well.
round, since we won't get a chance to even see it.
Yeah, but you still did it anyways because
Yeah.
it doesn't waste time either.
Yeah, because like I still beat the load to the next room, even talking to him. So it's like, oh, I can waste time there.
Yeah, the Prime community typically goes by in-game time, and this game is no different for the most part. But it requires watching the credits in a marathon. We're probably not going to do that.
Yeah,
But
credits are
Credits
5 minutes long.
yeah,
It's like-
90% of the strats are like the same anyway, so it's not really too big of a deal. All right, so here's a Ridley encounter. There's a way to skip it. It's stupid, so Claris isn't doing it.
Yeah, it uses the very immersive spring ball, and I don't want to do that.
So, because this game has Spring Ball, to make sure that you cannot do like like bomb jumps that are higher than before, they added something we call the one bomb in midair rule, where if you get hit by a bomb while in midair, it won't let you get hit by another one until you touch the ground again. And what the game considers ground can be a little interesting at times.
Okay, so it's random how many lasers you get, so that was actually perfect. The
Nice.
minimum amount of lasers.
Nice thing about Rundus is that he actually gets a generator for you. So really, you only have to get 2 generators online, not 3. Wow, shooting those targets was very immersive.
I too play Simon to open doors.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, this is the room I was trying to talk
Yes.
about. So after Claris activates the terminals on the two sides of the room, she's gonna go around some morph ball tunnels and activate some bomb slots. With each bomb slot she activates, there's gonna be a morph ball platform that's gonna show up. That's faster by a second, by the way. On the higher level, which she needs to cross to
Tunnel.
Okay.
tunnel,
Tunnel.
tunnel.
There we
Like
go.
when the camera changes like that, it messes up your controls sometimes. So
Yeah, to my understanding, if the camera changes instantly, your controls assume that the camera was at the previous angle for about a second in this game. Something like that. It kind of messed some things up. And so,
no.
how often have you made that cycle?
Oh, I mean, I completely messed up getting into the tunnel
Yeah,
to
it's,
start.
that's
Threw
true.
everything
Who
off.
knows
really
what
matter.
tunnel cycle we were on? Probably.
All right.
No. No.
No.
No.
No. Oh.
So you can jump. You can use the spring ball to like slightly speed up this section, but
it's
in a
like-
marathon it's a little risky because if you fall, that's a lot of time lost.
You have to climb all the way back
Yeah,
up.
it's like I'm already not used to this setup. Let's not throw in random spring balls.
All right. So here's Ridley that she's about to fight. This is basically mash as much as you can.
Yep.
So Ridley's weak point is the mouth, and you just want to keep trying to mash into his mouth, and that's about it.
They actually buffed the uncharged power beam shot in this game.
Yeah, compared to Prime 1 and Prime 2.
Yes. Prime 1 and Prime 2, Charge Beam does 50 damage, Uncharged does 2 damage. But in Prime 3, Uncharged shot does 5 damage, Charge Beam does 50 damage. So it's very nice for a fight like this.
Okay, so basically this fight is divided in 5 phases. This is the second phase here.
The starting attack in this phase is random, but every attack after that follows a certain order. So like, it's the same pattern no matter what. It's just where you start in the pattern.
Yeah, it just cycles through them, so.
There's not going to be too much variation.
Did that land?
I think it hit the fireball.
I think so.
Okay, now fortunately, Ed's gonna do an attack where he pulls his hand back and then I get 3 shots in. Hopefully, I'll actually get all 3 shots. Nope.
Your aim typically is a bit off just because of the physics of constantly falling down.
Yeah,
it's kinda
like you're
pretty
constantly
annoying.
moving around. So
Yeah, so like if you fire a missile, for example, you'll actually fall ahead of the missile for a second. Not?
No.
Oh no, because I think you're falling. I don't remember.
This is a very, very tall thing.
You can see the meters counter. We're still 10 kilometers away from the bottom.
Somehow you don't die like long before then. Like you'd think you'd hit terminal velocity or something, but no.
And to be fair, Samus is in a suit.
Does it have like G diffusers from like F-Zero?
Yeah, of course.
That suit is magic. It has everything in it.
And Run has just saved our butt. That's
I don't think they've introduced magic into the suit quite yet. That's one game later, unfortunately.
So the 3 generators are activated. Now Claris is going to go ahead to, I don't even remember the room name, center of the area, I guess, which is where she's going to activate a cutscene that precedes the story.
So that impact in 4 minutes thing will actually kill you if you take 4 minutes.
Yeah, even though there's not like a timer displayed on the screen, every so often they'll announce over the intercom.
Yeah, like every minute it'll be like, impact in 3 minutes, impact in 2 minutes, blah blah.
Did you know all efforts to stop the meteor have failed?
I'm curious though, what happens if you like save at the last minute? Does it reset the timer?
Yeah, it does.
Because that would suck if you could just get screwed by saving at like 1 second remaining or something, and like you'd have to start an entire new file. But thankfully you don't.
Yeah, so we're almost done with the tutorial areas. Now would be a good time for some more donations, probably.
All right, we've got $150 from Jimmy Jim saying, so psyched for Metroid Prime 3. Samus loves speedruns and hates cancer. We got $50 from Example Daniel saying, finally Metroid Prime 3 after the first two have been shown at AGDQ. I look forward to Metroid Prime 4 when it comes out this or next year. Side note, do Metroids taste like chicken? And there's a
Personal experience, no, they do not.
There's a $25 anonymous donation saying, Samus is love, Samus is life.
So Samus just got owned by Dark Samus, and she was in a 1-month coma, and now she's gonna wake up, and the Federation is gonna be like, "Hey, what's up?"
By the way, we installed all this stuff in your suit while you were sleeping. We don't need permission to do that, right?
Yeah, and we're not going to even wait 30 seconds after you woke it up from a long coma before we're going to explain this stuff to you.
You've been asleep for quite some time. A month to be exact.
So yeah, the upgrade that we actually just got is called the PED suit. It basically allows you to use hyper mode, which is the main combat mechanic of this game. It's required. The game tells you use an energy tank to have a limited amount of phase on, which is incredibly overpowered. But you don't actually use health when you activate hyper mode. You only use hyper mode in proportion to how much phase on you use. In addition to that, when you're in hyper mode, you're completely invulnerable to anything.
Yep.
So you can literally just turn on hyper mode, take some hits, turn it off, no damage taken.
Yeah, it's my best friend over here. So
In an old interview with some Retro Studios staff members, they said that hyper mode would be a speedrunner's best friend.
Yeah.
They could have made it a little less friendly. It's sort of
it's
better.
so overpowered that everything else is just terrible to use.
It's not overpowered because that's exactly how they designed it. That's the thing. Like, it's more over centralizing.
Yeah, I guess.
Because
everything else becomes near worthless compared to hyper mode. Like, you could either you can either kill an enemy with hyper mode and have it take a couple seconds, or you can decide to go without hyper mode and have it take an entire minute.
That's a bit of understatement sometimes. Not even kidding. There's also a lot of enemies that can enter hyper mode themselves, which in that case you pretty much have to use hyper mode on them. So, in other words, we're going to see a lot of hyper mode in this run, and not much use of other weapons. For reference, an uncharged hyper beam shot does 50 damage. A charged power beam shot does 50 damage. Yeah.
And charged hyper beam is basically a Gatling gun of sorts of regular hyper beam shots.
Shoutouts to that trooper. He has some crazy armor to be able to be immune to hyper mode. Like, that's just insane.
If you did that, if you shot a trooper in some of the other rooms, the ship would get pissed off at you.
Yeah, the game actually spawns a turret in that room and shoots at you, and if you do it too much, it actually kills you in one hit. It's actually pretty funny. Alright, so this is where the real game begins, where we can actually start exploring and stuff. So, the general trend of the game, casually, is you're supposed to go to Brio, then Elysia, then Pirate Homeworld. And you have access to Brio and Elysia, the first two major areas, right off the bat. However, Elysia is completely blocked off by a Hyper Ball barrier, which is an item you're supposed to get in Brio. So Claris is going to go to Brio first and get Grapple Swing. Not strictly required in the game to beat it, but it's very useful.
Let's say it is.
Okay, let's say it is.
It's required for sanity.
For sanity's sake.
If you don't want to, like, go out of bounds for hours at a time, then you need Grapple Swing.
Yeah, and out of bounds is very slow, so you want to avoid it whenever possible. So the Grapple Swing is just that important.
And you still have to go to parts of Brio anyway, so...
Yeah, because you need Screw Attack later, too.
Yeah, so this game kind of treats elevators differently compared to the other Prime games, where your ship is basically a really flexible elevator, and you have landing sites across each area, which you can pretty much just teleport to with your ship each time. And in Brio, you can only access one landing site at first, but so you need to get the Brio map in order to unlock the other areas, which is important because one of them one of those areas is required for screw attack.
Hope everyone's enjoying the immersion so far.
So immersed.
So one thing about this game is that while there's an option to turn off hints, it doesn't actually shut up the NPCs.
It doesn't.
So they're going to be talking to you throughout the entire game, no matter what you do. On the other hand, this means we can give them tasks when we ignore what they want you to actually do at that time.
You actually want to avoid some of the dialogue boxes and not advance them because that actually forces the game to load them, and it can take some loads take longer. So don't talk to the
Another
NPCs.
spring space jump here. It skips like most of this room by going straight to the top.
Yeah.
Normally you have to activate 2 bomb slots, but if you just go to the last one, you only have to activate that.
That opens the path to grapple swing. And also a nice shortcut here.
Yeah, so what generally happens is that when you get a message like this, it's gonna keep repeating constantly because cutscenes happen and then reset it. So it's like, in case you really didn't know that the Leviathan Sea is protected by an energy shield, we're really gonna let you know like 5 times.
Did you know that the Leviathan Seed is protected by an energy shield?
No, I didn't.
Oh, well, here's a reminder.
Wait, what was that again?
Did you know the Leviathan Seed is protected by an energy shield?
Oh, cool. Thanks.
All
You're welcome.
So here's really the first introduction of what combat will be like for the rest of the game.
Bye. Bye.
And that's combat.
Yep.
Hyper mode is really powerful.
I believe the spawn point for one of those enemies is random. I don't remember off the top of my head. That's
I don't know if it's random for moves during the cutscene. I need to like. I don't think I've ever actually thought to check that.
good point. And Brio has kind of a little mechanic where you have fuel gel, and if you shoot it with a charge shot, you can blow it up. It's not super relevant because we're not going to be in Brio that much. Oh yeah, here's grapple swing, which basically gives you the grapple beam from Prime 1 and 2.
Yeah. So this is the 2nd out of 5 grapple items in this game.
And now she's going to go ahead and get the Brio map, which is on the other half of this area, pretty much. She's going to be doing some pretty significant skips here. She's going to use another 2 SSJs. One to get to that ledge up there.
SSJ is spring space jump.
Yes, spring space jump. We're going to use that abbreviation a lot. So that skips taking the grapple points that are across the room and climbing to the top. And this skips having to grapple lasso some of those grates off and then rolling through the Morball tunnel.
Well, I don't mean to interrupt the immersion here, but we've got a $30,000 donation from the Yeti.
Wow.
And it says, "Hey y'all, Yeti here. We're so happy to be back at AGDQ with amazing teas for you. Your support has been overwhelming. We've raised $30,000 for the Prevent Cancer Foundation. Thank you for your support. Shout outs to our Yeti family who make our participation possible. Thank you, Yeti fam. We love you." And just as a note, that pushes the total amount donated over $300,000 for AGDQ.
Woo, 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 woo!
Let's go.
3K and counting. 3K. 300K. It would be kind of bad if we'd only
There is
raised like
so much
3K
immersion
by
in
now.
this
Oh my god. The immersion of failing to rip something out.
Like I'm really an electrical engineer.
Oh, that took my energy tank away. That's not good.
Oh, that is actually kind of a problem. There is a kind of
it's not gonna matter other than like 2 seconds lost maybe.
okay. There is a kind of a mini boss-ish fight coming up soon. So yeah, now she can go to Fiery Brio, which is where Screw Attack is. That's not relevant right now, but she does need to come back later in the run for that.
So right here I'm gonna do a slope jump, which is just a jump against the slope to jump higher. And I jumped high enough that it's actually going to spawn me up here instead, so I can get this missile. Now, missiles are not very useful in this game, but I do want some of them, so I get missiles that basically cost no time to get. And see, all that time getting that missile, I still beat the load to the next room.
Yeah, this game's loads are very good. So here's the fight coming up. There's going to be multiple enemies that fall down, and you have to kill them. The spawning point for the first two, I believe, is always the same. But after that, every one of these enemies that spawn will always spawn from the far side of the bridge. So Claris is going to stay on this bridge and just keep shooting them. That was some immersive combat.
Now, go ahead and do one donation here.
All right, we've got a $25 donation from Red43 saying, Red from World 9 Gaming here. Here's to a great Metroid Prime 3 corruption run. Everyone needs some immersive environments now and then, right? Let's keep it up and kicking cancer to the curb with the donations.
Okay, so this is where the fun really begins in this run.
So this trick has been known for a pretty long time now, but
Since 2011,
yeah,
so 7 years.
but it wasn't actually incorporated into runs until very recently.
Yeah,
Claris was, I think, the first to use it.
yeah.
It's the biggest skip in the game by far.
Yeah, so
Th-
aside from getting screw attack, I am done with Brio now. I'm not doing getting ice missiles or ship missiles or hyperball or fighting Magnar or any of that.
So if you had any donation,
No,
if you were going to
but
make, if you were going to make a donation about Rundus's music, you're not going to hear it.
Yeah, you're not.
On the other hand, this means Rundus lives. So write that into your headcanon, if you will.
Okay, so first I'm going to go forward to load the next room. Makes things a bit faster later. One,
The satellite
two,
data has revealed
three,
2 distinct energy signatures.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
It's not over yet.
Oh, wow, that was a stupid way to mess that up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, this is really accurate.
Okay.
That's probably going to be too low. I'm probably going to fall off.
So Claris is trying to edge her way to a
Yeah.
standable spot, but in this case, she landed too low on the cushion.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Aw.
So once Claris shoots the robot, she knows when it will respawn.
2,
So that's why you hear her counting.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
This trick is very difficult.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Marathoners, everyone.
Yeah, like the fact that this trick was known for like 6 or 7 years but hasn't really been used in any recent runs really goes to show how difficult it was.
be fair, there was also a bunch of other hard tricks that were later routed out.
There's a lot of really difficult tricks, including this one.
There used to be
Even more.
way harder tricks than this.
Okay.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9,
You got this.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Spring ball.
I think she landed on the edge of the ship.
Everything about this trick is just, it's kind of silly, honestly, just how many little things.
I'm obviously doing something wrong.
Yeah.
What is it? Oh,
Going.
You have to get this, and then it's not even over. This trick is...
So this run's gonna be an overestimate.
Maybe everything else will go perfect.
Whoa, camera.
Slip of the finger.
Yeah. Finally, okay.
Well, it's not.
It's not over. It's not over.
not
It's not
over.
over. Stop, please, stop.
Not over yet.
Okay.
Stop clapping. It's not over.
It. Now she's trying to edge her way to a standable spot where she will be able to regain her jump.
Now it's over.
That trick is.
Good
Oh my
job.
gosh.
Okay, so for reference, about half the time I do this, I pull all of that off first try. So, yeah, sometimes you
Marathons happen.
it's pretty precise. So like, if you forget how to do it, kind of, because like, if you're a little bit off, I think. I think most of those times I was doing it too early and didn't realize it.
All right, so what she's trying to do here is climb up to the top of the room from out of bounds, and then she wants to make the game think she's on the next room. So and the only way to do that is pretty much is to get to the door to the next room.
So then she will immediately transition the room back.
So yeah, now if she jumps from here, now the game thinks she's in the first room, and she's gonna go back inbounds, but the game, but she's in the quote wrong room, which is gonna affect the physics for this trick coming up here. And there's a puzzle there you see there with all the blue orbs. You're supposed to have Hyper Ball to blow that up, but she doesn't have it right now. Okay.
There's another way of getting around this, but it sucks.
Yeah, you don't want to.
Okay, let's put it this way. If I didn't do this trick, I would have to do that earlier trick again. Watch that.
All right, so this trick is kind of interesting. So there's a counter for this puzzle that counts up to 9, and when that counter hits 9, the puzzle's done. However, when you destroy a blue orb, that counter goes up by 1, and then after 3 seconds, counter decrements by 1. So what you're supposed to do is be in Morph and zap everything at once. But what Claris is doing here is she's shooting a blue orb to increment the counter once, morphing and unmorphing during a charge shot such that another charge shot will hit the same orb again as she morphs. So that brings the counter up by 2, and then decrements it by 1 after 3 seconds, meaning there's a net increase in the counter by 1. And so she needs to do this successfully 9 times, and then the puzzle will solve itself.
Yeah, very basic, not really accurate explanation is that instead of shooting all 9 orbs once, I'm going to shoot 1 orb 9 times, and then it'll open.
And this is not possible if the game thinks she's in this current room, because normally she cannot unmorph in that morph ball slot. But the game thinks she's in the wrong room, so the collision for this puzzle is a little bit wonky.
And
one important thing is that you can't actually tell if this is working. So sometimes I'll only destroy the orb once instead of twice, and I just don't know if that happens. So you just keep doing this until you're done.
We've got a $322 donation from Dice Guy D30.
There we go.
He said, time for today's randomly rolled donation of 10 30-sided dice in honor of my father currently undergoing chemo. Good news, though. Today I rolled 161, but one of the die rolled a 30, so you know what? Critical donation. Let's double the amount.
Good job.
Thank you very much, Dice Guy.
So that is early Alicia. Those 2 huge tricks.
Still saved way more time than doing Rio. So
Rio costs like around 20 minutes to do at least, so Now, Elysia introduces these fun little zip lines that are basically time sections you can't speed up. And there's all these enemies you are supposed to shoot out of the way that would knock you off or do damage to you. But you can literally just turn on hyper mode and not care, because it's hyper mode.
Though you do want to turn off hyper mode during some long ones, because otherwise your tank will auto vent and you'll just lose the knee tank.
Yeah, you have 25 seconds of hyper mode before you lose it. So if you cancel it manually, you won't lose an energy tank, but if you let it run out on its own, then that energy tank is gone.
Normally, by this point, you'd have a mechanic in play called corruption, where after a short amount of time, in hyper mode, the meter starts to rise, and you can't let it fill all the way, or else you game over. But Claris skips that part.
So she's never going to get corrupted in this run.
Yeah, the main thing about that is if you get corrupted, then you can no longer manually exit. You have to waste the entire bar and your entire energy tank.
There will be no corruption in corruption. Really makes you think.
Alright, so now she's pretty much just going through the story path of Elysia. You don't need Hyperball for like anything at all anymore. Well, in this
There's
area.
one more thing at the very
There is one later on.
Close
Not right
to the
now.
end of Elysia.
So our goal is pretty much to go through Elysia and get Boost Ball. And Elysia, the main area of Elysia is actually a very linear path. It looks very confusing, but in actuality, it's really just goes from door to door for the most part. So
There's some shortcuts that open up later on, but
he doesn't have access to them.
for the first run through of the area, you have to go all the way.
So here's a mini boss coming up called Steam Lord, and he is a mini boss that's invisible for the most part. However, if you destroy one of these minions, then he spawns and starts trying to revive it. And then that's when you can damage the Steam Lord. And you don't actually want to use Hyper Mode in this fight.
Yeah, because hyper mode will knock him all over the place, and when he gets knocked around, he disappears again.
So, rare scenario of not using Hyper Mode on a boss. Well, not primarily.
Yeah, these are going to take out with hyper mode, but then I'm going to turn it off. Yeah, I also need to make sure I keep my distance from the boss, or else it'll like nose me and disappear. I don't really know how it works. You'd think it knows like getting shot constantly, but apparently not.
Just getting another energy tank here. It's practically free, and as Hyper Mode does use up energy when you use it offensively, you want as many E-tanks as you can that aren't out of your way. I think you end the run with like around 5?
Yes, 5.
So,
Energy tanks will play a different role at the very end of the game, but we'll talk about that when we get to it.
So, wait a second here, or else, due to the way this room's laid out, I'll start loading a different room if I go too forward too soon, and then I'd have to wait like 5 seconds at that door. Not much is going on right now, so if you have more donations, that'd be a good time.
Absolutely. We've got a $50 donation from the twins that says, "This is for my parents. My mom survived cancer, and my dad has his second chemo treatment tomorrow. Good luck to the speedrunners. I've been watching for many years now, and every time it just gets better and better." We've got a $30 donation from Draken that says, "Obviously had to donate during Metroid, my absolute favorite game series. Much love to all the runners playing games for a great cause. Poke that bobblehead, beat cancer, stay immersed, and save the cosmos."
stay immersed. Are you still immersed?
I lost my immersion recently, so hopefully I'll get it back soon.
Well, it's a good thing there's plenty more motion controls to get you back in the immersion.
Oh, there's even some. There's one mechanic coming up that doesn't quite involve motion controls, but is still very immersive.
I think we have time for a few more.
Yeah.
We've got a $30 donation from Omicron54 that says, as Samus shall be freed of her corruption by Phazon, so shall our world get rid of cancer. Good luck on the run. There's a $26 donation from Armadillo64 that says, Samus, all efforts to stop this donation have failed.
Yes.
And of course, a $25 donation from Trainer Emily that says, save the animals. Wait, wrong Metroid game.
Okay, one quick thing. That ice missile lock door is not an ice missile lock door. It is a normal missile lock.
Yeah, so
You don't need
the
ice
game,
missiles.
The game doesn't expect you to be at this point without ice missiles, which are obtained by fighting Grundus. And so there's no real reason to distinguish between ice missiles and regular missiles here. So the ice missile locks actually are vulnerable to regular missiles.
That's just in this area, though. Like, the ice missile locks in Brio and Orient are actually ice missile locks. Yeah, I think we can squeeze in another one or two before the next puzzle.
Well, Oranges donates $30 and says, even with the motion controls, which aren't that bad, this is honestly one of the favorite in the trilogy for me. Good luck, Claris. I'm rooting for you. And there's $25 from Remora Vox that says, always great to see a Metroid Prime game being run during GDQ. Thank you, Claris, for running this game. See you next mission.
All right, so there's a puzzle coming up where she needs to... There are these things that block the grapple points that you can kind of see right there. And you need to lower them using the morph ball tunnels here. And there's 3 of them you're supposed to lower, but she's going to be skipping the very first one. It's kind of a tight grapple to do, so hopefully... Especially since when you release your grapple on a grapple swing, you actually lose all control of Samus, which is really annoying, and was not a thing in Prime 1 and 2. So being able to grapple across these grapple points without lowering the first ball is actually pretty tight because of the awkward angles and the aspect of losing your control.
Ooh, got it.
There you go. Yeah, sometimes if you can lock onto a grapple point, you just don't grab it. I think it's if you're like at a really steep angle or something. It's kind of silly. But yeah.
Maybe you can...
One more. We can do one more.
We've got a $20 donation from Flydon that says, corruption was a favorite of mine. Can't wait to see it beaten far faster than I can. Good luck, Claris.
All right, so there's a mini boss coming up called the Defense Drone, and what you need to do is knock out the antennas behind it. Really easy to do with Hyper Mode thanks to its Gatling gun charge beam. And then that opens up its weak point, which you grapple lasso, and it can start damaging it. And then usually, well, I don't think anyone's ever run-rounded this besides me for some reason. But
I'm sure someone
must
has at
do.
some point.
Probably.
I haven't.
I don't know. I still don't know how I did one round at this. But typically speaking, you can come really close to killing this boss in the first round before it closes itself, and then you have to repeat the cycle. The hitbox is also kind of wonky for its weak point because you have to hit that little antenna in the middle. And she's periodically turning off and on Hyper Mode again because, again, if you wait too long, you auto-vent, and you don't want to use up the entire energy tank, and 2, you don't want to auto-vent when you're actively using Hyper Mode.
That's actually not the reason I do it in this fight. It's so I'll have a full bar at all times.
Oh, that's fair, yeah.
Because I don't want to use up the whole bar and run out of hyper mode early.
All right, so now that she has boost ball, this will be her primary method of movement for the rest of the game.
Yeah.
I believe rolling is just around twice as faster than just walking in general, and since you can boost ball now, it's just even faster. All right, this is a very immersive mechanic. Just keep spinning around.
It's time to noom.
It doesn't even matter if you boost at this point. You can just, as long as you're moving, it'll continue to rotate.
Yeah, so you just go in the circle for 15 seconds.
As opposed to
And
like 1 second in Prime 1 or 2.
I'm going to do that about 7 times in this run. Because it's so thrilling to go in a circle like that for so long. helping me get immersed in the game again.
That's a nice little shortcut to get down really quickly. I mean, you pretty much just fall
Whoops, that was interesting.
down. Right after I said you falling down. I'm sorry.
Exclamation point, I fell down.
Right, so now Claris is going to get back to the AU unit, which is kind of the NPC of the area that you need to talk to start up certain missions and progress the story. But to access it, you need to activate one of these boost mechanic things. So she needs to get boost ball and then go there. So she's pretty much backtracking to the halfway point of Elysia. Thankfully, some of these shortcuts speeds it up a bit. So I think we can squeeze in a few donations at this point.
No problem. We've got a $25 anonymous donation going back to something that was mentioned earlier, saying, working in government, I can confirm Metroid Prime 3's realism. Simon is exactly how we secure our doors. And there's a $50 donation from King Manatee saying, great to finally see Prime 3 in a GDQ. While I haven't had any experience dealing with cancer, I don't want anyone else to have to. Let's get rid of it for good.
Oh yeah, there's these green ledges. For the immersion, if you jump into them, you can grab them and climb up the ledge for whatever reason.
I too only grab onto things that are green.
I
Yes.
think the explanation is that they're magnetic.
I don't think there is like a plausible explanation for this.
They just wanted to put power grip in the game, like into your mission.
Samus just really likes the color green.
You'd think she'd make her suit green then.
I mean, her visor is green. Like, she makes her whole field of vision green. It's just green all day, all the time. You know, then her, like, matching ship. It's one of my favorite things about Metroid, how she has, like, the suit, and then the ship is just, like, it looks like the suit. Like, she really likes the suit. Or maybe the ship came first? I don't know.
Alright, so there are these work bots that come out of here. For each portal, the next work bot will spawn after you kill the previous one. So Claris kind of wants to just kill all 4 of them at the same time, roughly. So they all keep spawning roughly at the same time. Because you're effectively bottlenecked by the last work bot you kill.
And these enemies are very weak, only dying to 1 hit each. Even without hyper mode, they die very fast.
Well, Proto mentioned green. There's a lot of green there. Did you know? Soon everyone will be corrupted, including you. Oh, wait, that's this cutscene.
That's not for a while.
Oh, is it not?
No.
That's
I mean, we're not going to be watching it, so it's like... We'll just say it was this cutscene. No one will know.
Yeah.
Alright, so now at this point, the AU unit is basically saying, oh, well, you need to fix all these, weld all these panel things to fix stuff. So
In
go
order-
kill, go kill Gore and get his plasma beam.
the game doesn't actually tell you where Gore is at this point, but very soon the ship will start saying messages that it's under attack. Obviously, it's Gore doing it, so now Claris is heading back to the ship.
And this is where she really wants to have that hyperball puzzle at the start done, because she would otherwise have to go find a way to get out of bounds to go around it. And the closest out of bounds there is terrible.
Yeah.
It, I believe, requires like a 2-frame spring ball into like a frame perfect unmorph or something, and motion controls. Yeah.
Also, these razor things can be a real pain to actually shoot, so just being able to hyper mode through them is a huge.
Yeah, I tried to take those out earlier today and completely failed.
And if you fall at any point, you have to redo the entire thing. So it's not worth like
I mean, you lose nothing by using hyper mode.
like it's not worth even attempting to do it normally as a joke, like because you lose that much time if you fall. So Claris will actually jump before morphing to cut out a boost.
That gives her a bit more momentum to start going
Ooh,
down
I
the
turn
half
it to
pipe.
the right, twist it to the left, then the left again.
Woo! Congratulations.
Finally, a video game that gets me and my want for twisting things to the right and then the left and then the left again.
So this is a pretty valuable shortcut to skip part of the backtracking, which requires boosting around for like 15 seconds again.
Still faster than going through all the zip lines.
Yeah. Okay. Since we're just doing a quick backtrack, I think we can squeeze in like 2 or 3 donations here.
Well, no problem. We've got a $1,337 donation. That says twice a year there comes a time to donate some money with Rhyme. A week full of fun, game after game, quite speedy at that, nothing lame. In the winter they gather around to stomp cancer into the ground. For summer break, their orders, a healthy amount to cross borders. The GDQs, that's the trick, where awesome games are done quick.
Fantastic.
That was beautiful.
All right, so Claris is about to fight Gore. The first bounty hunter you're supposed to fight, totally. But yeah, generally speaking, what you need to do is you need to shoot Gore, I think, like on his weak point on the back, which stuns him, and then you can deal actual damage to his main weak points. And of course, her main method of defeating Gore is going to be using hyper mode. Just in time.
Yeah, that cutscene Gore throws a ship at you. It's great.
He's laughing about it.
So Claris is actually going to delay like attacking Gore a bit. If she does too much damage too quick, Gore will get unstunned, and she would have to stun him again. But by delaying just ever so slightly, she can take out his first phase quickly.
That's the second phase right there. Third phase, Gore, it goes into hyper mode, meaning you have to use hyper mode, which is not a problem at all.
You don't have to, I think, when enemies use it, but
You really should.
Yeah,
They-
really.
You do like 1 damage with everything else. I don't
Yeah.
know if that's actually
I
true.
want to say it's 10% damage with everything else, which
Right.
is like very, very weak.
Especially given your other weapons are already very weak. So she just got Plasma Beam, which is useful for burning things down, burning like certain, whatever they're called. Like, what are these things? Yeah, melting them.
alloys.
Alloys, there we go, thank you. That was a very useful scan visor use.
And they're also useful for another very immersive feature.
Oh god.
Why?
Alright, so, you want me to explain it?
We'll explain it when we get to
Yeah.
it.
The
Though it's
other
pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah.
You can open red doors as well, which is pretty important.
I think they're orange.
Or orange?
Yeah, I think
Orange
it's,
is closer, I guess, yeah.
I think missiles are red.
Oh, we should clarify the most important part of Plasma Beam. So Power Beam charge does 50 damage, but getting Plasma Beam increased it to 50 damage. So
Yeah, Charged Plasma does the same damage.
And on some enemies in Brio, it does even reduce damage.
Yep.
Yeah,
And there's no beam swapping.
so Charged Plasma Beam is a literal nerf in this game.
Well, at least on Brio.
Well, okay, there are a few cases where you can burn enemies. But yeah, it's kind of...
it does increase your uncharged shot power from 5 to 7.
Yeah, it's 7.
Yeah, but then on Brio, you start doing half damage to enemies. So even once you get Nova, Nova is also weaker than Power than on those enemies.
So really, you should just be using hyper mode.
Yep.
So this is a really valuable shortcut that you need Plasma Beam for. This pretty much skips like a third of the detour backtracking, which you may notice we pretty much going just back and forth across Elysia, but unlocking a few shortcuts here and there to make it a lot faster.
Yeah, this will be like the last time I go through these areas, though.
After repairing the Aurora unit, Claris will go to a new landing site and then go back to Brio and collect the screw attack.
Yeah. Because you need plasma to get screw attack, but gotta get my ship repaired first.
Right, are you ready for the immersion?
No.
I am.
Welding.
Let's do it. Woo!
Pretty fast.
Oh wait, round 2.
Oh.
Oh, there we go.
So if you want to only do within the line, if you touch without the line, the entire thing falls apart. Actual people who know welding explain if that's not true in real life. I somehow doubt it, but
I kind of doubt it too.
Thank you, Silas. We must first, as an alternative, this facility.
So yeah, what the AA unit is telling you is to blow up the Leviathan seed of Elysia, which is pretty much your main goal of this area. You need to get a map and build up a bomb to drop it on top of that. We're not entirely going to do all of that, but we are going to destroy the Leviathan seed.
I mean, we're not gonna do any of the bomb at all.
That's true.
the way to the bomb, you need screw attack, and you casually you'd quickly run into wall jump surface, but Claris actually won't be using that at all.
And for
But
the-
you'll see why later.
For those not familiar with the game, getting screw attack in Prime 2 and 3 allow you to wall jump on certain surfaces. You get screw attack surprisingly early in this game compared to other Metroid games.
In Prime 2, you get in the last area, but
I think it's your last upgrade before Codraxis.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's really late.
this way you get around the halfway point. Screw attack does deal a lot of damage, but it can be a little
It's
weird
unreliable.
to use. But
And I mean, it a lot of the time, like, you're still just better off using hyper mode, even though screw attack's really powerful.
Alright, so she just unlocked the second landing site, which she will use to depart and come back to this area after she gets screw attack.
this is pretty much the only landing site Claris will use for the rest of her time on Elysia.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, let's save. I haven't actually saved since early Elysia's.
Yeah, I don't want to redo that.
Okay, I did not actually test these in here before I did the run. I started the run, so
Claris has a bunch of timers set up for a trick.
yeah, it's probably
oh,
like
what-
20 minutes from
yeah.
now. But I should test it now instead of like when I'm actually there trying to do it.
That's a really good trick to just wing.
We've got a $100 donation from Vooligen saying, "Hey everyone, I'm really enjoying this run by Claris, though personally I enjoy watching more speedruns without used secret worlds. Because these speedruns are real. Seriously though, great job so far and good luck with the rest."
That's a notorious quote from someone in the Prime community. Yeah.
Let's just leave it at that.
Yeah, just leave it at that. Alright, so welcome to Fire Brio. There are these gates you need to move with the plasma beam, although you can actually just jump through them after you shoot it. Well, you don't need the plasma beam for it.
Yeah,
Normally-
you use charge power. for
Yeah,
it.
normally you need charge power, but since you have plasma, you can just use that. No.
If you.
That did not go how I wanted.
Yeah, she actually jumped on a standable ledge there to skip a bit of a puzzle where you're supposed to shoot down this platform and rotate it, creating a stepping stone.
You need 5 of these
Enemies,
things.
cause you to float in these tunnels, but you
I
don't
almost
want
messed up.
Alright, Alright, so you're supposed to have Plasma Beam to shoot that ice out, and then do this quick little puzzle here to make an opening to Ice Brio.
You can actually get into Ice Brio early using out of bounds, but the problem is that you can't get back out.
So, like,
So you have to do it now.
so getting Screw Attack early is theoretically possible, but you're soft locked. You just can't get out. So it's unfortunate because it may potentially be useful if you could get Screw Attack earlier, but that's how it is.
I'm pretty sure it is. I'm pretty sure it would actually help with early Alicia.
Yeah, look at this amazing cutscene where it just freezes while staring at Samus's
Totally
back.
not a loading screen. I'm really immersed in that. So like this ice here you can actually destroy with Charge Hyper Beam. Of course, it's fast and better to just use Plasma Beam if you have it.
Which you better.
If you don't, you're probably screwed. Alright, so Claris moved forward there before shooting the ice out just so she can hit the low trigger for this room more quickly.
If you don't have Plasma Beam and aren't trapped, then you're from the future.
So I skipped ship missiles, but I still actually need them to beat the game. So instead, I'm just going to get a ship missile expansion because you only ever need one.
You could theoretically get a different one that's faster, but it's not.
It's not reliable.
Yeah.
Not
It-
at all.
And you can also just wall crawl, basically word for out of bounds travel, to the main ship missiles and get those. But that one's a huge pain in the ass. Like I saw Kirby do like part of it, and he got like to the first door and quit.
Yeah, it's not fun.
So yeah, that's my ship missile for the game.
Yeah,
right
if
there.
you're not familiar with what ship missiles do, they're kind of the equivalent of power bombs in this
They're
game, except not
stupid.
very
That's what
good.
they are.
'Cause yeah, they're pretty bad because you're really limited in where you can use them. They blow up everything in the room and kill every enemy, but you like can't use them in like 80% of the game anyways.
So basically,
They're useless.
in order to use them, you need to have a room with an open ceiling. So like half the tunnels are out. You can't use it on Alicia for whatever reason. Probably it would destroy the planet or like the station or something. I don't know. And
You can't use it in Pirate Homeworld until after you disable the defense, I believe. Which
Yeah.
at that point is still very limited to a few rooms, and everything's dead, so there's no point.
you can kill this one enemy to get an achievement, and that's about it.
Right, so now she's just gonna get out of Brio. This is the last time we're gonna see Brio, and she's gonna go straight back to Alicia. So, I think we can squeeze in a few donations here.
Sure, we've got $100 from the Friendly Ranger saying the Metroid Prime trilogy is my favorite game series of all time. Kill the corruption. Climbing Coder donates $50 and says, had to donate during one of my favorite series of all time. Good luck to Claris and all the runners today. Save the frames, immerse the animals. And there's $30 from Old Hoovian who says, Claris, make it stop. I'm so immersed. I can't take it.
This ship is very immersive.
You can like look around, like you can look around in real life too. It's crazy.
And you can see your own legs.
Unfortunately, I can't right now.
Did it like say Metroid on the bottom of the ship
Yes,
there?
Yes.
Metroid Prime 3 Corruption.
Loading
Yeah,
screen.
no, it has a bunch of game logos, not just Metroid on it.
Yeah.
It's like an unlockable. You can do it based on the save files that are on your system.
It's kind of a neat little Easter egg. I think if you have like files from like Mario Galaxy
there-
or
there's
Twilight
the, like,
Princess.
Twilight Princess logo on the top.
Okay, I like the Easter egg. I respect it.
I don't know. I mean, it's kind of hurting my immersion.
All right, Claris needs to load the next room. She's gonna use a screw attack to get out of bounds underneath the next after the next room is loaded. So she's gonna screw attack down here.
And in this, she gets caught on the collision of the next room, and until she bonks, and then she needs to get into out of bounds and get to the next door.
Yeah, so she needs to go out of bounds here because there's actually a transportation elevator to East Elysia, but it's blocked off by another hyperball barrier, and we can't get through that, so you have to go around it with out of bounds. So this could be a good time to do a quick overview of how out of bounds works in this game. So generally,
Every room is in a box.
every room is in a box.
No.
Yes.
No, please don't. Please don't.
Okay. But basically, the room inside that invisible box is what you have, quote, quote, normal physics. However, outside the box is what people call ether. And when you're in ether, you're in a state of maintaining the same height and just kind of staying there. But you can still walk around horizontally. So right now she's in ether right now. But when you walk from the side of ether into the side of that invisible box, you have a 3-frame window to do a jump, which is what she's doing right now, called an ether jump. There's no real good visual cue for this, so this takes a lot of practice to get down, because it's generally going to be invisible. You just have to get a feel for it. And ether jumping is the most reliable and quickest way to get to the top of a room, usually.
The ether itself actually pushes you up, but it's at a very slow rate.
Yeah, and right now she's on what we call the skywalk, which is the very top of that box, which, again, is ether, so you can just walk across it. And that's the hyperball puzzle she's skipping right now.
Yep. Bye.
Bye.
Solved.
And then she's going to let the next room load around her, and then she'll just get put back in bounds like that.
There's a different way to skip it on the hyperball puzzle on the way back.
And a lot of times when you want to get back in bounds, the easiest way to get back in bounds is just to get to a room before it finishes loading and let it load around you. But that's not something you can always do every time.
When that isn't the case, you do what is something that's called a ceiling work, but we'll get to it later.
I just want to apologize to all the fans of those 15-second spinners, because that's the last one I do.
Wow.
No.
My immersion.
Okay, I'm over it.
I'm not.
I'm so sorry.
I need more of my boost immersion.
All right, so this is Skytown East. Normally you fight a bunch of pirates here, but you can do spring space jumps to take a shortcut through this room.
And also, she's going to be using another spring space jump into a screw attack to get to a room that you're supposed to exit into after getting the next upgrade, Seeker Missiles. So she's actually going to be taking the path backwards to go get Seeker Missiles.
So normally in this area, you're supposed to go get ship grapple and then get the first bomb piece, and then go to the pirate labs and get Seeker Missiles. Here, however, all she's doing in this area is just getting the Seeker Missiles and then piecing out.
She waited there intentionally, or else that flying pirate will be in the way and knock her off.
Yeah. Or it could still be in the way and knock me off. Okay, let's forget this then.
But yeah, the only reason she's in this half of Elysia at all is just to get Seeker Missiles, because there's no way to skip it. She needs Seeker Missiles for only one reason, which will be coming up. And it's also why having extra missile tanks can be helpful, just not for the actual firepower, but just because every time you fire a set of Seeker Missiles, you fire like fire missiles usually. So it eliminates some of the need to look for refills. Bye, E-Tank.
Yep.
This part,
So
There's
this,
Metroids in this game, by the way.
where's
Yeah.
Metroid?
this part is memorable when first playing the game because, like, you see these Metroids in tubes, and you just know that they're gonna break out. Like, there's no way that they're not gonna break out. It's just a matter of when.
Yeah, like casually speaking, this was actually one of my favorite parts of the game. Actual immersion of just being scared of the Metroids and not being, oh god, I know I'm gonna have to fight these soon. This is going to be really scary.
It's just a matter of when.
The immersion just gets too high at this point.
Alright, so there's a lot of these tunnels with dumb little lips at the bottom, which prevents you from getting clean boosts across them. So Claris is doing boost spring balls to pretty much just boost over them like that. Well, it's more difficult than it looks because you have to charge a boost and a spring ball at the right time, which, again, spring ball requires flicking the Wiimote, which can be very uncooperative at times.
And also, if you're already in the air, then you can't spring ball, so those little lips might cause you a little bit of height and then kill your spring ball.
Okay, this is the first energy cell that Claris will get. Energy cells are kind of the equivalent of artifacts and Sky Temple keys. In other words, they're kind of the final collectibles you're supposed to get to access the final area of the game. There are 9 energy cells, I think?
Yeah.
But Claris is only going to get 3 of them because they're literally on your way in this game, including being required to take an energy cell for secret missiles. So the final collectible of energy cells pretty much becomes a non-issue. Casually speaking, you need a minimum of 5 energy cells to reach the final area.
You can actually reach the area where you use the energy cells as soon as you get screw attack, but all you can get at this point is just a bunch of expansions and I think like an energy tank.
Yeah, the area is called Valhalla, which you can go to right now, but there's no real point in the speedrun.
Yeah, not until you get Nova Beam.
Yeah, so we're going to get into that when it becomes relevant. Right now, her goal is to just get out of East Elysia because she got secret missiles. That's the only reason she's here.
There's a bunch of faith on Metroids, but you can just safely ignore them.
Yeah, the doors don't lock or anything, so as long as you can get these secret doors quickly. Yeah.
Please say that after the secret door opens.
Good point. Secret missiles in this game aren't very good. Yeah. But yeah, there's another energy tank. It's pretty much on your way, so there's no reason not to get it. It's just very helpful.
Secret missile. This area is one of the big reasons you get missile tanks at all up to this point.
I think I jinxed it. I apologize.
Because getting refills can be rather slow, as you can see. Oh,
Nice
come
refill.
on!
I don't actually know where to get refills.
You kill the Metroid?
Oh no.
Yeah, I think you could just kill the Metroid. Maybe.
Hopefully he gets a refill.
You have hyper mode.
No, I was doing that to get rid of the missiles because I'm hoping it would
Oh yeah,
increase the
that's true.
chance.
So, like Echoes,
Oh,
this.
There's one.
Whoops.
So like
Okay, I get one more shot at this. Please actually work this time. Thank you.
So I believe this game uses the same
Oh,
smart
this way.
drop system that Echoes uses,
It's not exactly the same, but it's similar, I believe.
Yeah.
where it gives power-ups based on what you need.
It's like if you're low on health, you're going to usually get higher health drops, and if you're on 0 missiles, you're generally going to get missile drops. It's not something that's really that relevant usually, just because you generally don't need to care too much about drops besides health drops. Right. Yeah, I think we can squeeze in like a few donations here.
We have a $10 donation from Kedzie saying, amazing seeing Claris pulling through with these tricks. Claris 1, RNG's is 0. Take these $10 and put them wherever you please. Well earned. And good luck with the rest of the run, friend. Got $5 from Scruffy129 saying, I was going to wait until the end of the week, but I knew I had to donate while Claris was doing her fine black magic to tear apart Metroid. Claris, you're my hero.
Thanks.
All right, so there was a hyper ball barrier that she had to get out of bounds to get around, and she needs to go through it again here. But fortunately, the solution's really easy.
Not quite
Relatively
out of
easy.
bounds this time, but you can just walk over here and press the B button repeatedly.
Yeah, about 20 times, then it just pops me through.
There we go.
And she's
Are you ready for this immersion of the screw attack walls? Wow, beautiful.
that's basically where the game will tell you that to go get screw attack. But since we already knew where to go, that's the first time viewing the scene.
And didn't need to go there anyway. So
Yeah. Okay. So there's a trick coming up. You're supposed to get the Theronium bomb parts with the ship grapple to be able to activate the Spire sequence, which is a sequence where you drop the Theronium bomb on the Leviathan seat and then fight the main boss of Elysia. You can skip this by going out of bounds. There is I think 2 rooms adjacent to this, there's like a very tiny invisible trigger points for the Spire sequence. 3 rooms ahead. And she has a 3 timers set up to be able to get this trick down. So, yeah, here we go. Just gonna use the same out of bounds she did before. After loading the next room, which should be already loaded, I think. So,
I don't think she didn't enter the ship, so it should still be loaded.
yeah, it should still be loaded.
I was too high there.
There used to be another way of doing this out of bounds, but it's much worse.
Yeah,
Don't do it,
I
ever.
really don't want to do it.
What?
There we go.
There we go.
It's not over yet though. Nothing's ever over yet.
Okay. So she's doing a set of ether jumps again to get to the top of the room and to the door so she can transition into the next room. Again, a term we use for making the game think we're in the next room.
Yeah, I know all about that.
Okay. Now this room here that she just transitioned to is the room that you're supposed to exit out of after the Spire sequence.
Is it this room or the next room?
It's the next room.
It's the next room, okay.
There's a really long elevator leading up to it.
Yeah. These ether jumps are not as easy as it looks. Just takes, I mean, they can be kind of consistent. It just takes a lot of practice to get them down in any of the Prime games.
Yeah. Take those cutscene skips I did yesterday, make them a little bit easier, but then do them like 100 times.
Alright,
It's
so
not like-
neat thing about the command visor is that there's actually a compass on it for some reason, and she's using it here to line herself up.
And she has a timer that tells her pretty much how long to walk in this direction. She has a specific setup to try to hit this very tiny invisible trigger that's far out in the middle of nowhere. So,
So first, she's actually going to a different room's box to do some more ether jumps to get high enough.
Yeah, so right now I'm going to Spire, which is the room with the pirate fight that you do, and then you drop the bomb. I can't really explain things right now.
yeah, she's going to need to focus on this trick a bit.
Basically, she's going to a really big room to get high enough to reach the trigger.
Yeah, it's basically a door way that's invisible, and you can't see it, and it's way out of bounds, and I have to find it.
And the map is more or less useless at this part.
Okay.
And hyper mode is really useful when trying to ether jump in out of bounds because like you have no visual cue of anything at all. But when you turn on hyper mode, you can see all these tiny little particles that lets you know like are you actually going up in the ether jump or are you actually falling? And you just have no visual cue of that otherwise. So she's repeatedly re-entering hyper mode just so she actually knows what she's doing.
Yeah, so what I did here was go to the corner of this room. So like I don't really know how to explain how I did that, but I'll know where I am once I get to the top of the room now. So I'm just in the corner of it. This room is really, really tall. So donation would be good.
Absolutely. We've got a $150 donation from Debatist Hick saying, first time donating for my favorite video game series. I've been going through the Prime trilogy for the first time and rushed to get as much of Corruption done before this run so I could properly enjoy it. Loving what I've seen so far. Good luck on the rest of the run.
Thanks. Yeah, so I got exit out of high mode every so often, so it doesn't auto-vent my energy tank away.
And she does need to fight a few things, so she wants to have as much health as possible.
Oh no.
She actually goes higher than she needs to, but
You can't really tell how high you are, so you can't go to the height you need to be easily.
All right, there we go. That's a skywalk, which is the top of the Spire's box.
Okay.
Here we go.
Line up the compass there. Go. That was way too early. So we're gonna have to do it again.
She has a separate timer again to pretty much tell her how long to walk, and for every one of those unmorphs she did, there's a timer of how long to unmorph immediately that she keeps resetting. So hopefully she hits it.
yes!
Great job.
All right, so that's the scariest part of the run, because if you don't find it, then
You have no idea where you are, so
either
good
that
luck.
or you have to redo basically all of it.
So yeah, she just completely skipped getting the bomb parts and ship grapple. So now the game thinks she has the Theronian bomb, and now she has to defend the bomb from getting bombarded by pirates. So this first ship here, you're supposed to destroy these ships, but the first ship here cannot be destroyed until after it fires a shot. I assume it's because it's to demonstrate that these ships can damage your Spire structure. So like after it moves over to the right side, she can actually destroy it, which is why she's not using hyper mode, because there's no point in trying to outright destroy it since you can't until now. She doesn't have to worry about the flying little robots too much. She just has to prioritize killing the pirates.
That ship would drop off more pirates, but she killed it before they had a chance to jump off.
Ooh, yeah, you are kind of low.
Yeah, I vented an extra energy tank while I was trying to get here.
That, I believe, is the last of the three
Should be
ships.
the last one.
Yeah, so it's going to come back over here. Does a full circle around the area.
Feels immersive watching it go around you. So we're gonna be a random pirate right there that just jumps off.
It gives up.
He gives up. The pirate's dropping out.
All right, so now you just go into the escape pod, like you turn off the engines, and then go into the escape pod and escape, and nothing bad will happen.
Yeah, they perfectly tested everything before they sent Samus to go blow up a bomb.
not like she has to go down and fix anything.
I mean, I don't understand why she couldn't just call her ship here, but
There isn't the blinking lights. How would she land without the blinking lights?
you do raise a good point there. Now,
Immersion.
this is where welding gets terrible.
So normally you're supposed to actually rip that one panel off with grapple lasso, but for whatever reason it can be destroyed with hyper beam.
Yeah, and then the grapple point is still there, even though the wall's already destroyed. Whoops.
Oh, nice moves.
I have to wait for this to load anyways.
Yeah.
Intentional.
Sure.
Demonstrating our immersion with the loads. Wait, are you ready for this? Are you ready? Woo! See, I like how it uses Samus's left arm when most people play with the Wii one in a right hand. My immersion experience has been ruined.
To be fair, they do usually put the grapple stuff on the nunchuck for that reason.
Yeah, they
but
usually do. So
not-
Samus confirmed three-handed. It's the only explanation. She has two left hands.
The plan worked.
Oh hey, the plan worked.
the plan worked. Wow.
What plan?
Yeah, what plan? I don't know.
whatever. It worked.
Alright, so on a more serious note, the Leviathan Seed shield has now been blown up, so now Claris can just fly over to the Leviathan Seed and fight the main boss of Elysia.
Lavon's impact resulted in the destruction of the
Oh, thank you for clarifying that.
and the seed.
Is that part
Game
of the plan?
commentates itself.
Yes.
It's amazing.
Why
Like,
do we have
why
a couch
are we
here?
even here?
Like, why? Alright, so this is a very, very not forgettable boss coming up, I think.
What are you talking about? This boss is very memorable. So, like, the first area, like, first main area with the Leviathan Seed, like, the boss there is Moganar, which is one of the giant golems you see throughout the area. Like, you know, very foreshadowed and stuff. The boss of the next area, Pirate Homeworld, is obviously Ridley. You don't just fight him. It's
Spoilers!
No, you're wrong. It's Omega Ridley. Get it?
Spoilers.
Gosh. Alright,
Alright, and here's the boss of this area.
this is the boss of the area.
Seeker Missile Locks.
What? Okay, what? Attempt number 2. Do it.
Yeah.
Hey! Woo!
There's still
There's
more.
another one. There's another one. Oh,
Giving a bit of fight.
there we go. There we go. We need some applause for that.
And now for some reason there's this. I don't know why the previous boss seemed like enough to me. Alright, so seriously, Helios, you stun it, and then you wait for it to open up, and hit it with my Hyper Beam.
And that's it.
And that,
Do
and
this
then
3 times, and
yeah,
then that's over. Very thrilling science boss here.
normally it's a little harder to hit if you don't, like, when it's unstunned, if you wait long enough, but why wait?
Yeah, and there is a damage cap per phase there, so like Claris couldn't really do any more damage at that point. And there we go.
Yep.
So, for whatever reason, there's actually 2 hyper missiles.
Yeah.
And you can, if you, by standing in the right spot, you can just get a second hyper missile and get another %.
Yep. So you can get 101% in this game. One of like
Whoa.
3 ways to get
Yeah.
it, I think.
You can get 255% in this game. That's where it caps.
like, so randomly somebody did like a 100% playthrough or a run, and then they got 101% and had no idea why. There's like a second hyper missile pickup.
Yeah, I believe it was Uchiha SDA, and he went to go back through his videos to see where the percentage doubled, and it was hyper missiles. So, yeah, interesting.
And
Press A to release Phazon to the Phazon core, or whatever it's called.
That just immersed me so much into this game. So yeah, that is Alicia. We are completely done there. Don't need to go back again at any point.
Wait, you're not going back for Spider Ball?
Nope.
Wow, sad face.
What's a spider ball?
Anyway, we're gonna go to Pirate Homeworld next, but that's gonna take a bit because gotta tell you about it and loads and all that. So good time for more donations right now.
We've got plenty. $50 from Sushi Elemental saying, "Oh, you spoiled children with your immersive video games. Back in my day, moving the controller did nothing. All we had in Metroid was the balsa wood suit and old short bow with no arrows, and we were fine with it." We've got $30 from Cyberbot X saying, "So why do all the civilizations in the Galactic Federation have things that work perfectly for the only power suit in the galaxy? Good luck on the run, Claris. And now how about that all bosses in Athena?"
I've been wondering about that this entire run. I just think about that every time I watch a Metroid game. It's like, why are there all these morph ball tunnels and things that are perfectly designed for Samus? Like, is she just some sort of god? Like,
It's a string of coincidences that basically Samus can shove any explosive up her arm cannon and it will work as missiles.
Yeah, but, like, why do even the pirates design all these morph ball tunnels everywhere for Samus to go?
Vents?
I believe there's a
That
scan
are
log.
perfectly Samus shaped.
I believe
Well,
there.
galactic regulations. OSHA. Gotta have that safe workplace.
All right, so this area introduces Acid Rain, which is actually really dangerous. It drains your health exponentially and very quickly. So you can stand in it like 1 or 2 seconds and you're fine, but after that you're probably dead. So Claris is going to do a double bomb jump into space jump here to skip a puzzle here, and she's going to get her second energy cell, which is basically required. You can't skip this. Well, casually speaking. And that opens up a morph ball tunnel. Surprise. And also stops these vents so she can keep rolling through and go to the next set of rooms.
Yeah, we really don't care about that additional information. So
Okay. And soon her goal right now is to make her way to X-Ray Visor, which is the intended first major upgrade in Pirate Homeworld, by the way. An X-Ray Visor in this game allows you to activate certain terminals and also see weak points in phasite and such. So it allows you to one-shot some enemies. It allows you to activate X-ray terminals, which is the more important part because that's what you need it for. And I think that's mostly it. Oh yeah, you don't need secret missiles for these, technically. There we go.
yeah, High Mode works on that for some weird reason.
There's X-ray Visor. Right, so these terminals here are random, and you also cannot just blindly guess and hope you get them correct.
You
Like,
think you could, but
can't.
they specifically programmed it so even if you got it right, you can make it wrong instead.
Yep, change the answer on you.
And the patterns for these are all random, so doing it quickly comes down to being able to react to the correct patterns and finding it quickly. Ah, couldn't make the cycle.
Yeah, you have to hit that like immediately, or else you have to wait for the next one.
So this is a shortcut that will take her back to the main elevator. And you see a missile there. She's not going to grab it.
Oh, I was supposed to skip that. Whoops.
What? Oh.
So I have to go reload the room.
Oh yeah, she was morphed before the cutscene in the morph ball slot, and that actually made this mechanic rotate without her, so she was stuck. So she had to exit and reload the room. I learned that the hard way once.
I'm sure we all have.
Yeah, I think most people have. See, there's another X-ray terminal here coming up that she's going to activate and get the Pirate Homeworld map, which gives her access to the research center and the mining facility, I believe.
No, it's just
It's
research.
just research?
center.
Okay.
It puts the like seed on your map. I think.
Yeah, it puts the seed on your map, but you don't have a way to get in at this point. Mines don't actually appear on your map until you enter the area.
Well, they're never gonna appear at all in this case.
Oh, yeah.
Right, so back to the ship.
We'll have time for some more donations here.
Absolutely. We have a $150 anonymous donation saying, love watching all the runs and supporting a great cause. Good luck to all the runners. There's a $25 donation from Blitzawolf that says, I have been primed for this run all week. Thank you for corrupting my bank account.
Boo.
Cheers to everyone.
Yay! Puns.
Punishing donation from Blitzawolf. $50 from Shinshia saying, love you guys, keep it up with love from Quebec City. And $50 from Venom1406 saying, I just had to spend some money on Metroid Prime 3 Hyper Mode.
There's a lot of hyper mode here.
We've also got $20 saying, donating during Prime, one of my favorite game series of all time. Just leave Ridley alone. He's only fighting the corrupt Federation. Just look what they did in Other M and Fusion. Space Pirate Life. That's from Kirbizard.
I tried to not remember what they did in that game, so. But
Yeah, so to unlock the gate, you just need to shoot that little switch there. And then there's a bigger room coming up where you have to do some platforming and go around the room twice, but Claris is going to do an SSJ to skip most of that. Just like that. Well,
or not. Just like that.
just like
Okay.
that, yes.
And now we get to listen to that for a while.
There is an energy tank in this Morphle puzzle here that Claris is going to get because it doesn't really cost much time. And you need to activate each of the bomb slots you see here to pretty much open the path to the next area. Next part of this Morphle tunnels. Alright.
Is that the last energy tank you get?
Yes.
Yes, that's the last one.
Oh,
Yeah, it still has that siren going
Here's
on.
Claris' favorite part of the run, having to weld and use the X-ray puzzle. There you go.
Just reaching maximum immersion levels.
oh,
Whoops, I misread the answer there.
You're too immersed. You got it wrong. So yeah, that switch is important. It opens up the path to the next set of rooms that you need to go to the trooper that just called you in and is asking for help.
the trooper.
Oh,
I
Help.
believe the troopers said, well, actually, either said or will say that they know a way through the acid rain. That won't be an issue.
Yeah.
Also, that missile, you
That's
can
true.
get it early without Spider Ball. Even on Trilogy, that is one of the few breaks that are still in the game.
It's actually a pretty cool trick. You kind of rebound off of an incline to bounce off without using Spider Ball.
Still going.
It's still going. All right, so in some rooms in Pirate Homeworld, there are these antennas that trigger an alarm, and you want to destroy them as soon as possible. In this case, there's no way to directly avoid these pirates spawning, so she's just going to shoot the antennas to pretty much trigger that.
It starts the cutscene
Yeah, it starts the
earlier
cutscene.
if you destroy that.
And they will follow you. And
So the next room, then I have to beat them.
these are commando pirates.
Yes.
And there's a way to kill them even faster than hyper mode later, but for now, hyper mode will still kill them pretty fast. When they show up,
Yeah.
All right, so Claris is going to do an SSJ here. What you're supposed to do is activate a terminal to unlock an elevator to go underground in this room, and then unlock another morph ball elevator to take you to the upper path. But she just skipped all of that using that SSJ. All right.
Just hit one crate because I have to wait for the room to load anyway.
There's a boss fight coming up soon, and having as much health as possible is helpful.
you mean
Not
that
strictly
the
necessary, but nice.
that the Federation trooper isn't going to just be a nice NPC?
No, you're going to help him first. He's going to help you out,
And we
actually.
can play Bop It with them.
All right, so this section coming up really reminds us of Bop It because they call it. The trooper will call out instructions to open something, and it's like pull, twist, and it's like that's Bop It. So I want to see somebody on Twitter draw Samus Bop It, please.
That would be great. Synchronize our movements or the security clamps won't release. Are you ready? Pull. Twist.
Bop
Push.
It. Woo!
Bop It, Metroid version. Spoiler alert, that trooper is actually Gandrada, the third bounty hunter who can transform. And
This is one of the few times where screw attack is used for combat.
And ideally, she won't need hyper mode much, so we'll see how this fight pans out. Gandrada will always jump to your left at the start of the fight, so you can time a screw attack and end phase
That's
one
bad.
immediately.
That's bad.
Did you skip a phase?
Oh, thank
There
you.
we go, there we go. Yeah, that's phase two.
Okay, phase 2, it can start turning into the other hunters, and
Those are
you,
slow.
Yeah, you can't speed things up once
You can't screw attack them, and that's the main important thing, honestly.
Oh, there we go. There's Gandrada. Really good fight.
Rest in peace, glowy pretty colors girl. You will be missed.
I really like Gandrada's theme.
Yeah.
You don't hear much of it.
Yeah. YouTube exists.
So we just got grapple voltage, the fourth of the 5 grapple upgrades. It's kind of an interesting idea, though it's kind of not used very well in this game. It's pretty much just used as a key to open doors.
You could also drain shields and stuff, but
Why do that when you have hyper mode? So yeah, Pirate Homeworld has these trains that Memory mentioned a while ago that you can use them to, they're kind of nice shortcuts and or elevator-ish things that you can use to go around the Pirate Homeworld more quickly. So this one takes you from the research facility, end of a research facility, back to the ship.
on every one of them, you have to do the little mini game of lifting your Wii remote and pulling it down. And one of them will probably go wrong.
Yeah, sometimes it just likes to not detect it, and so you're basically doing this until it works.
I think the game lies because you only have to tilt it up and then down when the game actually moves it right at the same time. And I'm just like,
It doesn't say right though. It only says up and down.
Tilt the Wii remote up, tilt the Wii remote down. It's so thrilling.
It's immersive.
all right, so now with grapple voltage, Claris is going to go back to the command center. And you're supposed to, there was a room that she was in earlier with an energy cell and a lot of acid rain. the next room past that is behind a barrier that requires using grapple voltage. And it's all in acid rain, so you can't grapple voltage that normally without the hazard shield, which is the upgrade that you need to be protected from acid rain. However, there is a safe spot just in range of the grapple voltage spot node that you can stand in and use grapple voltage without dying. So she's going to be taking advantage of that, and if you don't know where we're going with this, she's going to skip hazard shield, which is actually, I think, the first major sequence break ever found in this game.
Yeah.
So it's kind of neat.
It's one of the few items skipped in Aruki's old segmented run of the game from way back, which
Yeah,
which
that-
held up for quite a while.
I mean, that run is like still better executed than most people. This run.
Yeah, Aruki's segmented run is very good, and it still holds up very well to this time, despite the fact that it's very outdated, really, but still the execution's very solid.
It was one of the runs that really got me into speedrunning, actually.
And Hazard Shield is one of those skips that was implemented into that. So yeah, here's the safe zone. Just have to kind of inch
It
towards
didn't
it.
have to be shot to function this time.
And if you're in hyper mode and enter acid rain, you're gonna auto vent, so you can't just tank acid rain with
Like
hyper mode.
that.
Yep. Now here's a few fights she's gonna have to handle. in
But
the
what
acid
about
rain.
the Chozo artifacts? This isn't Skytown.
So what Claris wants to do immediately is back off, back into the safe zone, so she doesn't take damage from the acid rain, and then take out these enemies with hyper mode.
She also wouldn't be able to even enter hyper mode in the acid rain.
Yeah. She's grabbing some health drops, and then she needs to back off again, and then destroy these full crawl tanks.
Really wants to tell you about these Chozo artifacts.
Samus, Unit 217.
Okay, so I'm gonna get out of bounds. Like,
Don't forget to reload the room.
that's what I'm getting to. Basically right here, but you can't do it right now because there's an invisible wall blocking you. So I have to go reload the room first to remove that invisible wall
Yeah, so
because for some reason they didn't keep that there all the time.
So the AU unit is telling you that basically telling you to go back to Skytown Elysia to get Spider Ball, but she's also going to be skipping Spider Ball.
Right,
And this is one of the rooms that requires Spider Ball normally.
Yeah, this is the only place that isn't otherwise faster to skip it anyway. So
Here we go. She needs to do a boost spring ball with the camera being wonky too.
There used to be another way to do it. That was much worse.
oh, much worse. 2 spring balls into a bomb jump into 2 more spring balls. It was like in the span of a second and a half.
Yes.
There we go. Nice. So this is a really simple out of bounds in terms of what she's gonna do. She's outside the box of the room, and she's just gonna climb to the top via ether jumping and then get back in bounds to the next room, because the only point of this out of bounds is to skip that spider track. So I think she's gonna let the room load around her. Yeah.
It's preferable
Yes. There we go.
if you
I've gotten stuck in the wall doing that before,
God.
and that was the end of my run. So.
Yeah, you really want. It's really easy to get stuck out of bounds if you're not careful. The really easy way is to screw attack, because when you screw attack, you don't really regain control of yourself until you land.
See.
You don't gain control of yourself again until you land on a physical landing spot, which most of the time you're not going to when out of bounds. So yeah,
it was rusty. It was just immersion.
Yeah, I had to way more effort to get that rust off.
All right, so this is the train to the mining area of Pirate Homeworld, I believe. And the big room coming up is a room where you're supposed to kill a bunch of pirates. She's gonna
At
destroy
first,
safe. Yeah.
you can activate save stations, not the shit ones, but normal ones with boost ball for. I do not know why. You just can.
I didn't know that actually.
Yeah, you just boost into it and it works.
But yeah, she wants to avoid extra pirates from spawning, which wastes time. So she priority is to destroy these alarms that will spawn there. And 2 more. 1 more. There we go. And now time to kill the pirates. Easy. She's using hyper missiles, which she actually just got from Helios. We never talked about that, but hyper missiles are actually can be useful in times. They're really the kind of weapon where you just do a lot of damage in 1 hit.
Yeah.
So it's like if you just need to glance at an enemy and kill it in 1 shot instead of staring at it with charge beam for like an entire second, hyper missiles are useful for that.
So Claris is opening up this wall not to get the missile expansion. She'll actually do another. I think it's bomb
jump SSJ.
Yeah, bomb of SSJ right next to it to get over a trigger that that creates an invisible wall.
Yeah, so I basically just got over invisible wall there.
Yeah, like you're supposed to turn this into a half pipe with the drill, but you want this extra floor here to make this trick easier.
It's still pretty hard though.
Timing is really tight because if you unmorph too late when you try to do an SSJ, you just can't jump because your jump has to be within 1/3 of a second after you go airborne. But if you do it too early, then usually you're just going to be too low to make it in the first place. So in most cases, if you see Claris get an instant unmorph but not jumping, she's a little late. And it's a lot tighter to do with a double bomb jump because you have to wait for the second bomb to go off before you unmorph.
And you still need the height.
Yeah.
So
Oh, I didn't think that was gonna work.
You got this.
the point of this is to skip going around the entire pirate mines. Like normally
There we
it'd
There
be
we go.
normally
It's okay.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna waste a little bit of time. It's not that big of a deal.
so normally the pirate mines is a huge circle, and you more or less end up like 2 rooms away from where you start in order to get to Nova Beam. And by using this out of bounds, you can skip straight to there. But there's another additional point to this out of bounds as well, but we'll get to it in a little bit.
Transitioning varies from area to area, and in some areas, transitioning to rooms is really difficult.
Really,
in Pirate
really
Homeworld,
difficult.
you have to the consistent way is to kind of roll off the edge of a door, but you don't want to do that all the time because you have to get back up. Right. So Claris is going to load the next room, get on top of this door, do a few ether jumps.
Whoops. That sent me forward when I did not. Whoops.
Okay. There we go.
Okay.
Now she's transitioned to the next room, so her goal is to get to the top of the room, which is again the skywalk.
Oh no. Please stop falling.
So
Okay.
she actually, I believe she transitions the room back to
Yes,
the previous
she did.
room in order to set a checkpoint.
Okay, so the checkpoint is set to the previous room because the game still thinks she's in that room. She just got Nova Beam, which actually skips like a 4 to 5 minute timed fight that you cannot speed up.
And best way to die is to
Yeah, there's an
Restart.
object below the floor that just kills you instantly. Because otherwise you would be stuck in that room. There's no way to escape after doing that trick aside from dying. So what I did was the game thought I was in the other room, so it's going to spawn me in that room instead. And so I can actually get out of here.
So that saves a lot of time. All right, hello. Nice to see you, Samus. So the Nova Beam is the final beam upgrade of the game. It's aesthetically, in my opinion, is really pretty. It opens green
It's
doors.
not hyper mode.
Yeah, hyper mode still completely overpowers it. It lets you open green doors, which is the main important reason. You also need it to defeat certain enemies. Well, certain boss, I should say.
it allows you to shoot through certain.
Emerges.
Rotate first. I had that wrong.
It allows you to.
I had it wrong too, and I don't want plagues. So.
Nova Beam also allows you to shoot through a certain material type called phasite. It basically functions like the old 2D wave beam in that it lets you shoot through some walls.
Were you properly immersed with that?
No.
It need a WD-40 in the arm cannon.
Right, so now her goal is to unlock the path to the Omega Ridley, which requires going through a set of sequences. I think we call it like the Demolition Squad sequence or whatever, where you have to kind of go to an area, and then the Federation shows up, and then they're like, "Hey, we need you to escort these guys with mines or whatever,"
And we're gonna have them go right first.
because that's strategy. And you need to have at least 4 alive at the end. Before that, you're also supposed to disable the defense using Nova Beam,
You're gonna.
but she's not going to do that.
She's not gonna do either of those
Nope.
things.
She will go to the room that's close by to where you start the sequence. But all she needs to do is get to the end of those series of rooms.
Oh! Accidentally got a missile. Don't even.
That missile is really lonely, so I decided for once I'd pick it up. Okay, until we get there, it's time for more donations, I think.
All right. Well, we have got a $150 donation from Corned Bee, who asks, "Am I the only one who likes motion controls?"
Yes.
I
yes,
like
Yeah.
you
them.
are.
I like them.
I like them in some games, not this one as much though.
There's a $150 donation from Keith Fife saying, "The Prime series has always been my favorite. Unfortunately, class prevented me from seeing the run, but I'd like to donate to name a Final Fantasy IV character after my good friend, JP." And there's-
Okay, so
So this is another trick coming up.
yeah, God's staying this against this wall so that acid rain doesn't try to kill me. It's not really cooperating right now.
So she needs to do an SSJ against the wall to land on a tiny standable spot in this more tunnel there. There you
And then I got
go.
okay.
Nice. That jump is really skeptical. Weird. Sketchy. Yeah, this is the room where you're supposed to start the demolition sequence, but now that she's out of bounds, you can just kind of go through. I hope you're ready for this epic music.
Oops. No.
Oh. When you land on the bottom of ether, you basically have to mash to get out.
A lot.
This music's pretty epic. See, that's the best part about Metroid speedrunning. You can shoot to the music all the time. Now the music changes again.
Yeah, this is the same music that was on Norian for like half of it.
So yeah, what you're supposed to do in these rooms is basically go through room by room, killing everything in the room before the next room unlocks. And then also make sure that the demolition squad is protected and they don't die. So it saves a lot of time because you don't have to kill anything. Until the end, at least.
Oh. Oops.
Okay. That transition looks really scary.
Honestly, I was worried you were stuck in the wall.
Yeah, same.
Oh well. I knew what I was doing.
Okay. And like with Out of Bounds and Prime, it's a lot more limiting than some people may initially think because like it's not a ticket where you can just go out of bounds and go to wherever you want. You always have to go manually to the door to load the next room and keep progressively.
And
keep
there's
progressing that
pretty
way.
much nothing you can do if you need an elevator or in this game ship to
Yes.
reach new areas.
So like the final area is Faith, but there's no way to go there in the first place. And similarly with the final areas from Prime 1 and 2, you can't go to the final areas without a bounds alone.
Another unrelated note, hey, the Demolition Trooper counter finally showed up.
I rate this run a 12 out of 12. All right, now she wants to get back inbounds here because that's where the sequence ends. And then that activates a trigger for a cutscene that puts her back in bounds.
And now for a mini boss of sorts.
So you have to fight the pirate commander, whatever.
The
He
red one.
teleports a lot, and that's luck. So hopefully it stays in place. Wow, fantastic. Now she has to defeat all the other commanders here, and she's going to be using Nova Beam plus X-Ray. As Memory mentioned before, this beam goes through Phasite, and some enemies have Phasite, which if you use X-Ray and Plasma Beam, you can one-shot enemies.
Well, or close to it.
Yeah.
Defeat them faster. You won't have to dig through their
So now
armor.
the fight's over.
I rate that fight at 12 out of 12.
And right.
This is the most important part of the run.
Oh.
What I meant to allude to is the one spot in the game where you need ship missiles. There we go.
If you could skip the item from the Leviathan feed on Pirate Homeworld, you could skip getting ship missiles altogether.
Yeah.
So that means the item in the Pirate Seed must be really good.
Oh yes, it's just the
It's
best.
very useful. Man, that 12 out of 12.
Still there.
I rate
Still
this-
there.
I rate this joke a 12 out of 12. That's for sure.
Yes. I rate this loading cutscene a 12 out of 12. Oh, it's gone.
Now we don't know how good the joke is.
Alright, so this is the last Leviathan seed of the game.
Sort
And-
of.
Yeah.
Last one you have to fight a boss in.
I hope I'm not too low. Okay.
So you can actually get out of bounds to skip these, but you need Nova Beam for Ridley himself, so you can't actually just skip Nova Beam for this. So there's quite a bit of luck in the Ridley fight. The idea is you want to stun him as soon as possible by usually shooting his mouth. So she can stun him quickly.
Okay, the music started way earlier than normal for some reason.
Grapple open his chest. Now start shooting his chest while he flails around like an idiot. Phase 1 done. Ridley gets some Phasite armor on him now, so he's going to have some attacks.
Oh!
You canceled
I got
that.
too close, and that canceled the really easy attack.
So now she stuns Ridley, and she has to shoot the weak point of the Phasite armor, and she has to do this twice to destroy each part. Nice. Okay, armor's gone. Now his chest is completely exposed. However, you actually can't kill Ridley here, no matter what. And now he starts a flying sequence where you kind of just wait around, deeply immersed in this fight, and wait for him to land.
I rate your present missile situation a 20 out of 25.
I had no idea I was shooting when there even does anything.
This is a very exciting fight.
I think the flying by phase is still
It
another bombing
goes through
run.
4 times, and then so next time he's gonna land.
And done.
Nice.
So now it's time for the final item of the game,
The final grapple item, more importantly.
Hyper Grapple. It's phase on grapple voltage.
It's incredibly useful.
You basically only use it on a couple obstacles. If
It
you
has the word hyper in it.
That makes
Clearly
it good
in this
automatically.
game, that means it's absolutely fantastic.
If it has the word hyper in it, that makes it a speedrunner's best friend, right?
There's only like
There's
two
two spots.
required uses of it in the game.
Also,
think-
since I skipped getting corrupted, for some reason it gives me a normal hyper mode bar at this point. But if you drain it, then it just goes back to the like permanent one.
Are you ready to press A?
Yes, I'm ready to get so immersed right now. Oh, I pressed it too early.
Immersion ruined.
I can't believe Samus is on canon because of Resident Evil.
She actually controls her arm cannon via Wii remote.
Oh my god, I feel so bad for Samus now. I take everything mean about Samus I've ever said back because clearly she must lead the most miserable life in the world if she actually has to survive by using a Wiimote. Oh, I'm so sorry.
Huh?
Said about Samus.
You don't want to know.
I like the Wiimote.
No, you don't.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, you did. Did you learn not to?
Alright, so her goal is now to go to Valhalla, which we mentioned is a side area you unlock after getting Screw Attack. It's kind of the area you're supposed to use energy cells in and kind of explore little by little as you get more upgrades and energy cells. Though there's never actually a need to go there immediately until the end of the game. But the end of Valhalla pretty much has a code that you need to access the final area of the game. And this is where you need energy cells, which Claris got 3 for pretty much free. In addition, there's another energy cell that's right in front of you, so... Right there, in the green. But she's not going to get it. So, thematically wise, this is supposed to be kind of an abandoned ship, and it's really spooky and has Metroids flying around everywhere.
It's basically a destroyed version of the area from the very beginning of the game. If you remember back, there was a ship called the GFS Olympus. Most of the rooms are basically destroyed versions of that one. It's sort of like the crashed frigate of Prime 1, except without water.
In my opinion, it's actually a pretty neat area, casually speaking. It's just, the loads in this area also kind of suck. Bit of an understatement. Alright, so she did some platforming there to skip going around her room a few times.
This is the equivalent of the area where you got missiles.
Yes.
So you can do a similar sort of set of jumps. The whole... Did you explain the point of this area?
Mostly, yeah.
Yeah, we did earlier. But yeah, what we're gonna do is get the code for the Leviathan that's flying around Pirate Homeworld because for some reason the code is on this ship.
I think there was like a pirate boarding thing that has
Yeah, there
it.
is like at the end, but like why is there a code on that?
There is an energy tank coming up, but it's a little bit more out of the way, so she's not going to get it. Here's the third and last energy cell she's using. There are 2 more energy cells you're supposed to need, casually speaking, coming up soon, but she's going to be doing a really simple skip for that.
You would also have to fight a mini-boss called...
The Metroid Hatcher.
Yeah, and
It's terrible.
it's terrible unless you use... However, it has phase-light armor, so it is still vulnerable to the same,
X-Ray Nova.
yeah, X-ray Nova trick. So you can kill it in pretty much instantly without having to do really annoying.
What a
loads.
Loads! Woo! Alright, so here it is. You're supposed to use 2 energy cells to lower that bridge, but if you screw attack into a
That's
specific
maybe too
spot,
low.
the game...
Oh,
wow,
I
it
got
did.
it.
Yeah, the game just spawns you up there, so you can just skip 2 energy cells, just like that. Who needs energy cells?
Us. Because
You can't be fully immersed without the energy cells.
I was gonna say one of them's really annoying to skip, but alright.
Who needs energy cells of quantity greater than 3? No one.
You can skip more with out of bounds in Valhalla, but like the route gives you 3 for free basically, so there's no reason to really go out of your way to skip more.
And the actual out of bounds required to skip it is
Very difficult.
yeah.
Oh yeah, this bridge is certainly a bridge.
Now I have to do it. Thanks a lot.
Oh.
Yeah, you forgot about Valhalla loads.
I think the Metroid was hitting me from
Yeah.
the other room there.
Anyways, I don't think there's really going to be much happening, so probably a good time for donations.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We've got a $150 donation from Analog Mog that says, Kupo? Kupo! We've got an $85 donation from Cahote88 saying, greetings from Germany. I love AGDQ. Great event with great runners, awesome speed runs, and all for a great purpose. Let it rock. Also, $10 donation from The Zero Burger Zero King saying, loving the speed run of Metroid Prime 3 Immersion. I mean corruption.
Immersion doesn't even sound like a real word anymore at this point, to be honest.
That's how immersed we are in the game.
Yeah, this is a great time for more donations, honestly.
We've got $25 from IFD Delusion that says, been watching AGDQ for a while now, and this will be my first of many donations. I always look forward to watching all these games get destroyed so quickly. Keep up the amazing work. NG Loki donates $35 and says, had to donate during one of my favorite games. What GDQ and the runners do is awesome. I only started watching last year, but after putting my mom through chemo 3 times, I'm amazed at how much everyone comes together for Prevent Cancer Foundation. Keep up the great work and keep the awesome games coming. Put this towards Runner's Choice.
I don't even know.
Andy J. Retro donates $30 and says, Metroid is my favorite series. I'm thrilled to see a playthrough of this game. Putting this towards Author Blues playing Enviro Bear 2000 because I'm sure it's his main desire in life.
Poor author. All right, so now that she's done with Valhalla, she needs to go to Pirate Homeworld to use a code she just got, and then actually unlock the way to phase. So coming up is the one of 2 spots where you need Hyper Grapple, and if it weren't for these 2 spots, you could actually just outright skip, like a lot of Pirate Homeworld, and skip Omega Ridley. But unfortunately, these 2 barriers kind of just block us from skipping Omega Ridley. So get ready for the blob.
You got me excited for a very different blob for a moment. There's a Wii game called The Blob.
The Blob. Ah, that game. Haven't played it in so long.
I was just thinking of that one boss from Yoshi's Island, to be honest.
Oh, that blob. There's a lot of blobs in video games. All right, so, but we're going to see a lot of loading screens and just rolling around, so I think we can just read off more donations.
Absolutely. We've got some more. $33 from Jesse H. Creative saying $33 to my favorite Metroid Prime game. Thank you, Claris, for running the game this year. Destroy Cancer, Destroy Phase, Save the Rundus. Donation goes to Runner's Choice.
That saved the Rundus. That was so good. Rundus is alive in this run.
Yep.
She has never killed him.
$50 from Marissa Raptor that says, been watching both GDQs every year for the past few years. Love how we can use our love and talent for video games to help kick cancer's butt. Thanks to the organizers and runners for powering through every year.
That's an interesting looking door.
So this is one of the few. This is the first Hyper Grapple thing. You can actually wall crawl past it, but the problem is getting
back.
Problem is getting back. If you could find a way to get back, I believe a way to skip the other one was already found.
Yes, but I remember it being pretty hard, so it's like
Well,
would not be fun doing that.
Look at that well-oiled train switch right there.
Meanwhile, I think
Shoutouts to public transportation.
public transportation as in only Samus.
well, shoutouts to the shuttle that takes us to and from the airport, I guess.
Shoutouts to private trains.
Yeah, so right now I'm gonna use the code, and to go between these 4 rooms, it's gonna have 4 loading cutscenes, which really weren't necessary at all.
Or at very least shorten a few of them. Go on.
Come on. There we go. There's an actual like a token achievement you can get in this game where if you shoot that eye in the background like 100 times, I think, you get a token.
I thought it was 5.
Was it? I thought it was more.
No,
I don't remember.
It's like a lot.
Oh.
It's a lot. Should have shot it more.
I thought it was.
I think that was the wrong guy.
Yeah,
Anyway,
I
so-
think it was the squishier looking eyes.
Yeah.
Like squishy Metroid amiibo.
Why does this game load? I don't understand. I've never seen a loading screen.
It's probably a good time for a couple more donations for them.
Absolutely. We've got a couple more. $30 from Admiral Dane that says, Samus, did you know you can use a spaceship as an umbrella? It's true.
It does protect you from acid rain, actually.
And there's a $25 donation from Linkums that says, Other M for Awful Games Done Quick 2019.
No.
Love the baby.
No.
No, please no.
We do have $10 from Metroid Master that says, Rip my immersion. Shoutouts to Claris for the epic run and to the rest of the Fusion and Zero Mission crew.
Shoutouts to Metroid Master.
Other M will be joining Mega Man X7 in the upcoming non-existent Games Done Quick marathon.
I never played X7. I'm not sure if I will keep it that way.
I mean, it doesn't exist, so like you really didn't miss much.
Yeah, I don't know why they went straight to X8, but oh well.
Right, a few more donations.
Well, we do have $25 from Grand Plopper that says, all of this immersion is giving me carpal tunnel syndrome. Happy to finally be supporting such a great cause. Keep up the great work, everybody. And also, just to let you guys know, there are a number of incentives that have been met for some games that are coming up. Super Mario 3D World did reach the $10,000 incentive, so we'll be completing Champions Road.
That's going to be super fun. Champions Road is ridiculous. It's definitely going to pay off.
Right. So she's taking a trip to Phase, which is the final area of the game. And Phase is, your mechanics work a little bit differently in Phase, actually. Poke. And where your health, you don't really have a health bar anymore. Instead, you have a phase on bar.
We'll see.
Yeah, you'll see it.
And
that was the last
I'm
time.
positive I can beat FaZe in a minute and a half. It'll be good. I swear.
But yeah, you have like a cap on your phase, which is determined by the number of energy tanks you have. And it starts at 0 and slowly goes up as you take damage or wait around until it hits your cap, and then you die if it hits that cap.
This is also a point of no return, so no more poking the bobblehead.
No more immersion in poking a bobblehead.
Actually, there aren't really any more motion control, like immersion things at this
Grappling the final boss. Press A to vent energy tanks. Yes! Yeah, so you see where the yellow meter is now, kind of a grayed out meter now. If your meter hits that cap, then you will die. So Claris wants to keep an eye on her health, or phase on meter in this case.
Unlike the most of the game, actually using your hyper beam won't or hyper missiles won't drain the meter.
Yeah, the only hyper weapon that does is hyper grapple.
And this is the other hyper grapple blob. And that's it. So keep in mind, Claris does not have hyper ball, and there are a few rooms where you need hyper ball. So she's gonna skip going around this room a bit by using a SSJ, and then blow up that crystal with a hyper missile and keep going, navigating the top of the room. Now what she's gonna do here is do a boost into an SSJ, which if she does it correctly, she can gain enough distance. There we go.
Nice.
Nice.
That's actually kind of hard.
It's not super hard, but hey, it looks cool. You can kind of jump through a literal hole in the wall to get out of bounds.
There's a much funnier out of bounds in Pirate Homeworld,
Yeah,
but we didn't pass by it.
Yeah, it's just literally a pipe in the wall, and you can see it and just screw attack into it, and it just leads out of bounds.
And it took years to find.
Yeah, I think it still works in Trilogy too.
Yeah.
It's just a funny thing.
I think it was probably found after Trilogy.
Oh no. Oh well, that's not that big of a deal.
Yeah. So there's a few reasons why she's navigating out of bounds. One, of course, she doesn't have hyper ball, but also this allows her to skip
Jump,
some
it's not that
fights
big of a deal.
she's supposed to do. For example, there's a room where you're supposed to fight like 10 phase on harpers or whatever, but she can skip that.
The worst is the at the very end you have to kill a Leviathan infant,
Oh yeah, it's
and
pretty
that takes
terrible.
forever to die.
Wouldn't
it's even
be a
worse
Metroid
on,
game without babies.
It's even worse on PAL actually,
Yeah.
which is the European version. There's not too many differences between European and US, and most of them are irrelevant with the tricks that
I don't think
Samus is
there's
doing.
anything that's relevant like in this run I'm
In the
doing.
current route, there's nothing relevant, actually. But the health of how the Leviathan infant works is completely different between PAL and North American, but Claris is skipping it, so it doesn't matter. All right. Carefully navigating around to reach the doors. This is my favorite part of the run because there's a lot of falling down, which is my hobby.
Exclamation point, I fell down.
Yes. More falling.
Hi, Kirby.
Hi. I think in one of these shafts, you're also supposed to like
Fight a
fall down.
monster
Yeah, you're supposed
of
to fight a
sorts.
monster where all you do is smash into
Yeah.
its mouth. But
One thing we
skip
should
it.
note is that screw attacking out of bounds is really dangerous,
And
you
don't-
should always avoid it whenever possible,
Yes.
because you can get stuck and fall forever.
Which is why you're doing it right now.
Yep.
So having a lock on with a scan visor gives you a bit more mobility. And there you go.
Well, not done with the run, but done with the wall crawl.
So this is Dark Samus, your only fight in the game, and your general gist is all you're gonna do is keep mashing. That's pretty much your best form of DPS. Maybe squeeze in a missile if you can. All right, so when she splits into 3 parts here, she's actually regaining health, but you can distinguish the correct one using the X-ray visor. However, the first time she does this, she's always right in front of you.
And there's also
There's
only one.
of them. So,
Yeah.
Oh, is it only one of them? I don't
Yeah.
remember. Okay.
Now there's 3.
yeah.
Only after a certain amount of damage does she split into 3.
Okay. Again. Bummer.
My lock on got lost.
As long as
There we go.
as long as Dark Samus doesn't do an attack that involves multiple of the clones, like it'll be a relatively fast fight.
All right, so this is the Aurora unit. You want to shoot the tentacles and then keep shooting the exposed hole, which once you shoot it enough, nice missile snipe, by the way, it becomes stunned. You rip off the shell, and then you can actually turn around this boss. So she starts it up with a missile, then 4 to 5 uncharged shots,
Oh
and
my
then
God.
another missile.
I couldn't lock on.
Using
And she's going to try to repeat that. And the patterns here are random, so that's not a bad pattern if she can finish stun him immediately. There you go. And then if she does this right, this should be a 2-cycle.
No more motion controls. It's done. Well, other than pointing.
Okay, so time will be coming up. This boss is the last phase of the final boss. This boss is also very random. She wants to be able to stun this, any pattern that lets her stun this boss immediately. That's good. That lets her stun her. Okay.
Well, I think the
Well-
Aurora unit's male, but the Dark Sans is female.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. And if she does this right,
All right.
That's a good
last
pattern. That's a good
attack,
pattern.
So
because Aurora unit becomes stunned immediately after.
And
time.
That was corruption. Bye. Get me out of here.
Nope. You're trapped on the couch.
Nope.
Great job.
Honestly, very good aside from.
Yeah, it was really that one trick.
Yeah.
Everything else was super smooth. All the
Everything
crazy
else
out
is
of
really
bounds.
good, honestly. So,
Girl.
lady.
We should get out of here. We're 5 minutes of rest.
All right, well, how about a round of applause for Claris and the incredibly immersive Metroid Prime 3 Corruption Run. Absolutely fantastic experience. Now, we are going to take a quick break here, and then when we come back, we may have a little bit of an interview to take you to. We'll get you some donations in the meantime. Okay, we are back. I've been Yo BGS. It's been great hanging out with you guys. We're going to throw it over to an interview with Darkman78. Darkman, take it away.
All right, everybody. Welcome back to Awesome Games Done Quick 2018. I am Darkman78, and with me here is a very special guest. So I have here Lang. He is from Support Class. So for those who do not know, Support Class is actually responsible for the implementation of our layouts that you see, the really cool layouts on GDQ, and a number of other things which we're going to talk about. So Lang, thank you for taking a few minutes of your very busy schedule during AGDQ to kind of answer a few questions.
Yeah, absolutely. My pleasure, Darkman.
Yeah. All right. So first off, kind of like take me through it. Like I guess in a very basic sense. Like what is it exactly that you do as part of Support Class for GDQs?
Sure. Yeah, it can be a little hard to describe and put in concise terms. The way I sort of put it is just I'm an engineer generally with Games Done Quick. But the main feature that I work on is the graphics, all the graphics that the viewers see on the stream. And that's not just me. That's Support Class as a company. We work on those graphics.
Sure. Yeah, and kind of talk to me specifically about like the layouts, because like if somebody sees that on screen, they're like, oh wow, this looks really cool, but it's obviously a lot more complicated than just like putting a couple numbers here and some letters here. There's a lot of moving parts behind it, and not just like what they can see on screen, but off screen. So can you kind of maybe, in I guess a brief summary, tell me about some of those moving parts that makes things happen?
Sure. Yeah. So there's the actual graphical elements themselves, the bits that the viewers are looking at and seeing and hopefully enjoying. Yeah. But then there's also all the control panels panels, all the various dashboards that we have. And that can be the part of the iceberg that is not as visible and can be harder for the viewers to be aware of. But we have the Stream Tech dashboard, we have a producer dashboard, an audio engineer dashboard, a host dashboard, an interviewer control tablet, an interviewer control monitor, which we were looking at right now, which shows us information about the interview and things that we need to know to talk about later on, and current information about what's happening in the marathon. So yeah, there's a lot of viewer-facing graphics and a lot of internally-facing tools that we use, and that's kind of all running through Node CG, which is like the core graphic system that we use.
All right. Yeah, and just a brief moment. I mean, they don't, of course, work directly on the tracker, but I remember, for those of you who watched, we showed a picture of like the 2010 CGDQ tracker. You know, we've gone from that to like what you see there, and a lot of that has to do with support class. So, you know, it's a really big help. So kind of talking a little bit more about the layout. So like, you know, there's so many parts, of course, like that are visibly there. You know, people can see that there's the donation total there. There's the, you know, the runner. But it's not just like, oh, hey, we have one box here for that, one box here for that, one box here for that, and we're done. It's a lot more complicated than that. Can you maybe talk about maybe some of the things that you have to consider when you're designing a layout?
Sure, yeah. I mean, one of the biggest considerations is that, you know, we're never designing just one layout.